Ashe, peace. Still getting over a cold from last week. Voice is coming back though. It was a doozy. Sound kind of sick in my last video though. Peace and power to all the descendants of my ancient mother. My name is Brother Legend, and I'm here to raise your consciousness. What's going on? If your lips are thicker than a Snicker, please share the live with a brother or a sister. Oh no, don't put that on me, King Pink. Yeah, I ain't had a vid. At least I don't think so. I could taste stuff. I could taste stuff. I quarantined myself anyway when I'm sick. I'm alone. I'm good. My wife the one that got me sick though, so if anything, I need to kick her out the house. I would never. I wouldn't be allowed to. Big up to all the sisters, the Queen Dim. What's going on? Can't kick wifey out the house. Something happened to her. Her whole family gonna jump me. Yeah, we'll have a panel up here if you want to come up. We're going to ask you for your age, race, and pronouns. Just answer the questions up above me. Give us your reasons why. You know how I get down, man. We're not here to argue. I'm only going to ask you questions. I don't answer questions. Or at least I choose which questions to answer. If I choose not to answer your questions, do not be offended. I am here to learn more than I'm here to teach. But some of y'all do need to get taught. Dr. John Henry Clark said, I only debate with my equals, all others I teach. This is not a debate talk. This is not a messy talk. This is just good old Pan-Africanism. You know what I'm saying? Somebody said, I feel like black people gatekeep. I feel like they don't do that enough. If you see the picture up behind me, we don't do that enough. I didn't search for the picture behind me. I actually, I think all I had to type in was locks. I put dreadlocks in Google. And the Pastafarian you see behind me came up. Don't forget to keep tapping like, y'all. We got to reach our goal. Once we get to 2K likes, I'll let people come up. Yes, Pastafarianism. Very interesting. I had a Pastafarian come on my live. They told me that they were a real Rasta. I was like, isn't this interesting? Some of them will even claim that they were Africans because all humanity came from Africa. Go figure. Oh yeah. White tea folks will include themselves wherever the hell they want. We're all from Africa. So what's wrong with you guys? Look at us. We're from Africa too. But we don't have any of the oppression that you face. Why is that? I'm just as African as you. Minimalizing black experience, diluting the conversation. diluting the conversation. Lie, deny, flip. The three attributes of a white supremacist backs into a corner. They lie, deny, or flip. Darvo, gaslighting techniques. I wish we could all be colorblind. No, I don't wish that. Still getting over my cold. No, I don't wish we could all be colorblind. I'm not trying to be like Stevie Wonder. I wish white supremacy would go away. Can we do that instead? Is that acceptable? Instead of all being colorblind, can we just do away with white supremacy? I can't do away with it. I mean, usually the people that want to be colorblind are the ones that have the power to do away with white supremacy. You might be able to convince me you're not a racist, Not really, but I mean, it's possible. But that doesn't mean that you're not a racist. You could be fooling me. You could be tricking me. You might be a racist to my brother or my sister. It's up to white folks to, if they want to, say that they're not a racist to a black person. It's up for you to convince that black person. But end of the day, you could be lying to all of us. So it doesn't mean you're not a racist. I don't answer questions in the comments. I don't answer questions. I kind of said that earlier. So I won't be answering that question. Black supremacy definitely exists in the NBA and NFL. Both of those leagues are almost entirely owned by white men, specifically white billionaire men. Specifically, there are white men that own NBA and NFL teams, and they're actually descendants of people that own slaves. And now they own teams of black people that they trade and bid on like slaves. See how that works? See how that works? Can brothers and sisters benefit from sharing their culture during their oppression with the people currently oppressing them? Would you tell a Jew to share their culture with a German during World War II? Would you say it was beneficial to those people in concentration camps to do so? Because I guarantee you, anyone in a concentration camp ain't caring about what sounds cool to their oppressor. The first thing on their mind is getting the hell out of a concentration camp. Black people are the true victims of the Holocaust. The Holocaust has always been on black people. Black African people are the victims of the Holocaust. Ish people, the small hat people, the blue star people are victims of a Holocaust. A Holocaust. You see the difference? There's the Holocaust, which has cost many times more lives than a Holocaust that happened in World War II. The Holocaust has been going on for thousands of years. A Holocaust happened for about 6 years? Am I tripping? Is it like 6 years? I want to point anyone that's conscious to the comments. Oh, Alicia, you muted them. Damn. That's cool. He asked me, he said, I hope you don't have any kids. Get a vasectomy. Someone in the comments, no, it's okay, Leisha. Someone in the comments said, I hope you don't have any 1929 to 45 is not the H-low cost. That's just when the schmatzis started to gain popularity in Germany. So that was incorrect. But anyway, someone in the comments just told me, I hope you don't have kids. I hope you get a vasectomy. I want to remind y'all what happened when our ancestors were put up in trees. What did they do to the black men? Does anyone know? They clipped them. You know what I'm saying? They clipped them. If you get what I mean. Yeah, so that is 6 years, Miss Laugh or whatever. Exactly. They snipped them. That being the case, that person is their ancestors' wildest dreams by telling a black man on TikTok to get a vasectomy. You see how their clan ancestors speak through them? It's in their subconscious. And that's what we're here to unveil. Have a conversation. Ooh, you got a lot of echo. Chef Wang, turn your Bluetooth on and off. Bring your screen down. Turn it on and off. Come right back. Hopefully that'll get rid of the echo.
Is that better now, or is it still tripping? What I'll do is follow you, and then I'll join back up.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Protecting our culture and people makes white tees feel crazy and threatened. Why is that? Why do you think they feel threatened when black people say they want to gatekeep their culture? You know what I'm saying? Why do you think they feel threatened? If the Vietnamese said they wanted to gatekeep their culture, do you think white tea people will feel threatened? If I were Vietnamese and I held a live for Vietnamese people, and this was a Vietnamese prompt behind me, and I said, and I'm talking about how we want to gatekeep our culture, do you think they would have an issue with that? Why is it when black people talk about gatekeeping their culture, they have an issue? Why is it that removing our culture from us, teaching us their culture as a default for a standard of living is essential to white supremacy? Someone said in the comments, because they want to control us. Absolutely. Absolutely. They want to remain in control. You cannot control a people because before culture comes into play, identity comes first. So you cannot control the people who know who they are. You have to give them other titles. You got to give them all these different other titles so they don't really know who they are. You ain't African. We just going to stir up the pot, y'all, at all. You're biracial, so you're different. You're a woman, so you're not the same as the men, so, you're different. And you right there, you're a lesbian. You're a gay man. You're different. You're different than the rest. We got to split them all up. We can't have them coming together, knowing who they are, because then they'll create a culture that will defend their identity as opposed to defending white supremacy. Why us? Because when we were on the plantation, if we had a culture that they couldn't recognize, we could plan an escape. And we did. We did. Despite how much they tried to sabotage our efforts, we did have a culture on the plantation. But it was a culture in their language. So we had to codify it in ways that they wouldn't know. But they made sure that we didn't know our languages anymore because that would scare them, that maybe they can get together and say something in their mother tongue that I don't know what they're saying. So they separated us from our mothers and fathers, made sure to raise us away from our culture, away from our language, away from our customs, raise us to only know slavery as our history. And then that way, whenever we decided to make an escape, it would have to be in their language. It would have to be in their understanding. So now they can kind of read the room. I just want to say this before we go to the next guest. One of the genius things that our ancestors did when they were trying to run away is they would sing gospel songs on the plantation. They would sing "Steal Away, Steal Away, Steal Away to Jesus." I'm not a singer, so I'm not going to try to sing that right now, all right? They would sing "Steal Away to Jesus." When they would sing that on the plantation, they were signaling that they were planning an escape and there would be a meeting tonight. That is one example. I would love to give more. But even after I've said that, I think it would be problematic to even teach white people that could be listening what our ancestors were doing on the plantation, something they did not want white people to know. So I'm going to stop there. I forget that we're in mixed company. This is TikTok. Brothers and sisters, if you want to join B1 Initiative and have more conversations that we ain't supposed to have in mixed company, then y'all can feel free to come and join us. Chef Wang, give us your age, race, and pronouns, please.
How you doing today, brother? I'm black, 33, and I am him.
All right, talk to us.
I was reading your the benefit of black and white culture. There's no benefit of us sharing, because no matter how much we share, we're stuck in a unilateral contract, which means they gain everything while we get literally nothing. If they came to us and shared to us, they already have all the material, resource, and wealth in their hand. So the only thing they can exchange with us is currency, right? Mm-hmm. But even the currency is worthless because it's not backed by anything. So for us, if we want to exchange something, it needs to be, do you want to help us get land? Do you want to help us get waterways where we can ship internationally so we're not stuck only doing business here? How can we make money while we're in our sleep if we don't have assets or resources under our control? So culture means nothing. It means absolutely zero. There's nothing we could share with them that they don't already have access to. And for them, they can't share anything with us. The only thing they can share with us is keys to gaining wealth. How do we get it without having to, stab our own in the back or lie to them in nefarious ways to get money out of their pockets, right? Mm-hmm. That's the key to winning, is making sure we can build on our own soil, police our own, govern ourselves without their interference. That's the only way we'll be free.
Okay, Chef. All right, Chef. Sound like you know what you're talking about, brother. What about the second question?
The second question, our marriage is between, no. I don't know if Christ said it, but our God said, do not let them have your daughter or your son, period. He did not condone race mixing. So if my Savior says don't do it, I don't do it. Sorry. The Bible clearly says, do not give your daughter to them or your son to them, because it'll cause them not to serve God, meaning they'll always have two masters, meaning they'll look at their mom and think, well, they're not all bad, and it'll stop them from building in a way that protects their own. Like I have conversations with mixed race kids all the time. They can't necessarily see what we're seeing because they see it from a different point of view. Like they'll say reparations feels like a handout, and it's like, because your mother has access to certain things we can't get a hold of, or your father may have access to things we can't get a hold of as a group, right? Because it's easy for me to go get money, but if my neighbor's starving to death and he sees he can't get to it, and he thinks, you know what, I'll just take it from Keith, right? They don't deal with that. They don't have to deal with that on a daily basis. So it doesn't dawn on them that, oh, we need to do it as a group instead of it just individual. So that's why I just don't get into that. I'm not going to waste my time mixing with someone who doesn't share the same plight as me. It makes no sense.
All right. Hey, man, I might disagree with your reasoning personally, but I cannot fault you for your logic and standing on business, man. Where you ended up is what matters, man. And I think that's factual, man. Big up to Chef Wang. I'm gonna give him a. We used to give grades on my show. I'm gonna give him a A. I'm gonna give him an A. He got an A. Yeah, I don't know. He might have got it. He got an A plus. I don't know. I'm just hating on the Christianity thing, but I'm not gonna hate, man. A plus. All right. I'm gonna go to the next guest. I'm biased against the King James Bible. I don't like King James. Victor, give us your age, race, and pronouns, please.
Hello. My name is Victor. I'm 35, male, black.
All right, talk to us, brother.
I honestly think that there is a benefit to it, and I honestly think that it's pretty much unavoidable. This whole thing that we call culture, and even the pillars that we build up on as black people, they've come from white supremacy. The only way that we can actually tear them down is by mixing and reevaluating them. The things that we use to identify, even the notion of black, we haven't labeled ourselves that. That was something that was given to us.
I mean, all right. In English, yes, but the concept of the color, no.
Blackness was a caste system given to us by Portuguese.
True. However, the idea of Africans calling themselves black is not Eurocentric.
No, but the fact that but identifying it as a cultural bounding is, there was tribalism.
There were societies like Ethiopia, Nubia, and Kemet that called them, that it's in the name, black. There's also many other ethnicities that I cannot pronounce that have an annotate, like a description of black in how they identified themselves.
Well, absolutely. And part of my ignorance on this one, but with those same Ethiopians, would they identify themselves culturally as black? If they saw someone from another region and they were the same skin tone as them, would they then assume that the cultures were the same?
No.
Well, then that would kind of be my point then. That would be more of nationalism and tribalism. Of course, those things still exist as far as cultural boundaries go, but myself, me being black, and a person from the UK being black, our cultures are totally different. Totally different. The experience is different, and the things how we identify as far as oneness is.
Wait,
is
you're
different.
saying it's how is your culture totally different than someone black in the UK?
How's our culture different? Because the culture that we built over here in America is completely unique. We did not try to assimilate by giving up our culture. The ones in UK did.
Completely unique. I think we give African Americans too much credit, to be honest. I mean, yeah, we may do with what we had in the environment around us. However, that is African culture. Africans have literally been doing that since the beginning. As far back as we know of human history, Africans have always created culture with what they had in their environment around them. We saw sweet potatoes, we called them yams because in Africa, we had yams. Here, sweet potatoes look like yams. So we seasoned them the same way and said, you know what? These are yams, y'all. Because we made that part of our culture because that's all we had around us. So, that's something African. That's not unique to African Americans.
Well, pardon me. What I mean by the uniqueness, I'm talking about the blending of it. So let's say if we talk about something like jollof rice, right? Jollof rice, which is something that comes from Africa,
right?
Particularly in Nigeria. Now, the jambalaya version of that,
it doesn't particularly come from Nigeria, but I hear you. Go ahead.
Well, they're gonna fight on.
They're gonna fight. Oh yeah. They're gonna fight about that. But go ahead.
But the jambalaya derives from jollof. The only reason
jambalaya and paella, dirty rice.
Well, dirty rice, what they call dressed rice or dirty rice, but no, that's a conversation for another time. But my point is by saying that one is that we get that because we mix cultures. I understand that you're talking particularly about white
We
people.
did. I mean, when you say we mixed,
Yeah.
I would say that has a connotation um, of consent,
Well, no, we didn't
like
have a choice.
initiative. Yeah. Okay.
I can concede that when we didn't have a choice, we had to mix with the Irish. We had to mix with the Spanish. We had to, because
Yeah.
it was in New Orleans and Louis. There was the only place where we can actually, well, we were still slaves, but the conquistadors, I'm sorry, the Spaniards, I believe, they were the only ones that didn't kill you initially, and they actually let you work through indentured servitude. So we actually got the share culture. That's where we get our jazz music from. But I might be a little bit lost inside the nature of your question. When you're saying that, do you mean should we willingly do that as far as mixing cultures?
So no, I'm asking, where do we benefit as Black people? Anything that's introduced or asked about what we should be doing in oppression, well, the first thing we should think is, how is this going to liberate us? How it's going to benefit? Because we're oppressed people, anything that's not about liberation or not going to lead to some form of consciousness or revolutionary action in order to liberate Black people is a distraction. For example, my metaphor is, if a man is in a fiery furnace and the flames are up high, you know, he has a right to say whatever he wants. He has a right to sit there and scratch his behind and pick his nose. But none of those rights are going to be constructive to his liberation. Opening the latch to walk out of that furnace would be constructive. So, or at least planning on how to do that, so that he can give it a try. These things are more constructive. So, where would it be constructive for Black people, specifically for us to share culture?
I think it'll be constructive in the actual in the building up of it. I don't think that we have Black culture without the sharing of it.
I think you would benefit from learning more about our culture.
Well, educate me, because I feel like I'm pretty educated on it.
All right. So,
In what instance that we mixed cultures and it did not benefit us? That's
what instance did we mix cultures and it did not benefit us?
Yeah, because here's the thing. When I look at our oppression, it's built upon layers. We didn't just get here by ourselves. The reason why the feminist movement in the 80s didn't have as much traction as it did was because they tied it to the LGBTQ community. They tied it to other things that kind of distract from it. The reason why I'm from Miami in Florida. Every time we try to take some type of action, we get another distraction. We get another group kind of tied into it, and we wind up fighting with that other minority rather than actually uniting and moving forward with it. In the 80s, it was the Haitians and the Cubans. Nowadays, now they do it with the Jewish community in South Beach. But the reality is, instead of us actually sharing and actually moving forward together, we wind up fighting other white people's battles, because we fight with other minorities rather than actually trying to unite and move forward together. I look at the other leaders and inside of the Black community. They didn't have this single mindset of, even Malcolm X later on inside of his career, he wasn't just saying do it all through Blacks, because the reality is that if something goes on in another community.
Oh no. All right. What do you mean? All right. Now you done touched the nerve for me.
Okay, I mean, because a lot of people like
the life of Malcolm X. I studied the life of Malcolm X. Like kids in Chicago study Jordan. Okay, so I know the public narrative about Malcolm in his New Testament phase, and I know literally what Malcolm himself said and wrote in his final days. So they're two different things. People have tried to whitewash Malcolm into this humanitarian, but they forget that months before he was taken, basically he was forming a Black nationalist initiative. He said himself, we are going to come together and come up with ways to liberate our people. We're not sure if we're going to create either a black nationalist party or a black nationalist army. Those were the words of Malcolm X. He didn't know which one he was going to do, a party, a political party, or an army. So he wasn't on no we are the world shit that everybody tries to say he was on.
Well, I would say the opposite. As far as the narrative, the public narrative that I know about Malcolm X and the ones that I've always was taught is they kind of put him and Martin Luther King as opposite people. Like Malcolm X was this agitator. This was this person who was just trying to was violent. Basically, they paint him as a violent black man, and they paint Martin Luther King as the pacifist. Which I totally disagree. They both had a lot more in common than they did separately, especially in Martin Luther King's later years. But to each his own. My whole point of bringing that up is that I don't think that we're going to get to where we.
I dispel the notion that African American culture is unique to other African cultures only in how it's expressed. I guess we can look at that. I dispel the notion that even African Americans having a different expression of their African culture, their sub-African culture, it makes them unique or different. Do you know the reason why it was so easy? I'm not going to really, this is rhetorical. Do you know the reason why it was so easy for Europeans to colonize Africa in the first place? The reason it was easy is because African people at that time, like you said earlier, did not see each other as one people, as black, as one race, as one collective. Instead, they saw each other as thousands of different ethnicities and subgroups. That being the case, when the colonizers came and they were having a dispute with another community or civilization, they would be okay with, I don't like them people anyway. And so the white T-man came and said, all right, either you take these pew-pews and you go get them and sell them to us, or we'll give them the pew-pews and they will sell you to me. So which one do you prefer? And then they said, you know what? They speak a different language. They eat different food. They dance weird. You know what? We're not the same. I'll go ahead and do it. And then this way I'll be able to keep my people safe. Turns out even those people got conquered later on. But the thing is, the destruction of Africa as a civilization was predicated on the fact that we did not see each other as one people because we had different cultures. So how in the hell has it been 500 years of black African oppression and we sitting here still saying we different because we express African culture differently? We are doing the same thing that got us colonized in the first place when we do that.
Well,
looking at each other differently because they dance different. They listen to different music. They talk a different language. They don't talk how we talk. They different. We're literally doing the same thing that got us colonized. It has been too long.
I would say that's half of the story, because the reality is that may have been the case when they first got there. But it was a lot of European lies. They sold a lot of the Africans on indentured servitude. They were saying that a lot of these people were going to go over there and get their crafts, and they were going to use their crafts in other lands. As a matter of fact, there was an African nation that tried to go back to the Americans because they found out what was going on over there. Now, initially, yes, they exploited tribalism.
I didn't learn that part of history, bro. I learned that happened. Like what I just talked about got worse later on until the Dahomey fought with the Portuguese and lost. The people that were the ones that said yes initially to the white man ended up eventually being conquered by them. But it got worse and worse as time went on. It didn't get like worse first and then it got better to indentured servitude. Like by the time you get to the 1820s, that's when the slave trade coming to America was like booming. Like it was getting. If you look, there's a map on YouTube where they show every slave ship that has been like cataloged, like every all the records. They put them together and they made like a map, and it'll show you how each ship went to America and landed. At first, it starts out with a trickle, and then by the time you get right before the end of slavery, it's like a waterfall. It's like just all these ships going back and forth. Like they had, figured something out. Now, initially, the Portuguese were kidnapping Africans. They found it easier to create a false arms race. And the reason it's a false arms race is because they would say, we'll give you pew-pews to sell us your enemies, or we'll give your enemies pew-pews to sell you to us. However, they made sure to keep the Gatling pew-pew to themselves so that they could stay in charge. And that's part of the reason why part of white racism, white supremacy, keeping control over Africa as a continent has been to stifle their technology and innovation, to keep them in the past behind Europe so that they can't catch up. That started with the pew-pews.
Well, I mean, I don't have the actual history in front of me, so I can't really say exact or the dates or whatnot. With, like I said, I'm not 100% savvy on this. You most likely know more about this than I do. But what I'm saying, as far as the culture is concerned, in Africa, as far as I know, there have been liberations over there. As far as
No, there haven't.
They haven't.
No. You must have a low bar for liberation.
Well, I think that the actual journey of liberation, I think you kind of count it as a destination. Like when this happens, when the queen got her head chopped off, that was officially liberation. I disagree with that notion. I think
queen?
The progress.
You talking about Marie Antoinette? What are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm using that as an analogy. I'm saying
Okay.
I'm saying when the French chopped her head off, that wasn't the act of liberation. It was everything that led up to it. Well, no, of course not for black people. That had nothing to do with us. Like I said, it's an analogy. But what I'm saying is that if we're saying that we're getting the French out of Africa, and we're disputing why do we have these lines in these lines in the first place, within, in my opinion, that is a form of liberation. Because
Liberation. To be free on one's own accord, self-determination, kuji chakulia. Self-determining. There is not one self-determining black person on this planet.
You cut out.
Kuji chakulia.
I'm sorry, brother. You cut out. I had a call that came in.
Do you celebrate the second day of Kwanzaa?
I'm not religious at all. I don't celebrate any form of religion.
Yo, man, Kwanzaa is not a religious holiday, brother. Habari Ghani, does that sound familiar to you?
No, sir. There's not.
I would encourage you to learn some Swahili, brother. Swahili is the Africans what Latin is the Europeans. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I hear you. I mean, look, I'm on the chat with you right now, brother. If it's something that I'm ignorant in, I'm not being argumentative at all. Educate me.
Nah, I wasn't saying that. Yeah. Nah, it's cool. It's cool. Yeah. I'm the kind of live, man. It's cool if you don't know something. Just, you same thing here. I'll let you know when I don't know something too. But, that's 5. All right, Stella. All right, y'all. We're going to have to move on. Thanks for coming up. What's his name? Victor. Appreciate you, Stella. Peace and power. If anybody wants me to move on to the next guest, you have to send up the Panther Pause. Not saying I'll talk until then, but if y'all get tired of somebody, Panther Pause. Send them up. You can send 1, you can send 2. When we get to 5, they out of here. Don't forget to keep tapping like, y'all. We are behind. Y'all gotta tap like. Come on, man. Let's get to 25K. Y'all gotta tap like on the screen. Share the live with somebody that likes sweet potato pie, someone that puts marshmallows on their yams, somebody that Somebody that I don't know what else. Somebody that has a pick with a little fist on the end and knows what Dax hair grease smells like. All right. Near Naraya, give us your age, race, and your pronouns, please.
I am 34. I am so-called black, and I go by she, her.
All right. What's going on?
I really, really like the topic. I love everything I've been hearing. I do want to answer the topic though, if I
All
can.
right.
So can black and white people benefit from sharing culture? I agree with your stance on that 100%. Are marriages between black and white people ethical? No. It never has been, and it's a form of rebellion. That's the way I see it. And
Describe
so,
what you mean by rebellion.
well, I see it as from the beginning, it's never been, seen as a good thing. So when people do it, they can say, after some time or whatever is love, but initially, I believe it's rebellion to their cultural beliefs,
So you mean rebellion on behalf of the
what they're taught.
thin lips, but you mean
Both,
the pi-
both, because I know plenty of black families who speak against that. Mine being one of them.
rebellion on
So
both sides.
yeah, it is for sure. And it can be for various reasons,
Rebellion against what on the black side? Because we can't talk on both sides at the same time, but we can switch. But what
So
would a
on the black
black person
side,
be rebelling against? Authority?
themselves. They're rebelling against themselves. We naturally are spiritual people, you know what I mean? And when you resonate outside of that, it's rebellion against yourself.
If I took a
We
knife and cut my chest open, would that be a form of rebellion, or would it be self-destructive?
It can be both. And I
Okay, I
don't want
see
to
what you're
be
saying.
I don't want to be you know as if I can't pick a side or anything like that. It's just more so from a different standpoint. Because the guy that was on when I first came up, I agree with his standpoint, but not everybody believes in the Bible. You know what I mean? So I don't like to come from that point of view all the time. But that is my main source of what I believe.
Why
So
is that?
according to the scriptures, there's one particular nation who consistently dealt with, as the scriptures say, heathen or strangers. And because of this, they fell each and every time. So whether it was them worshiping idols, whether it was them mixing, whether it was, and it explained in the scriptures what would happen during that mixing, that the children would uh, go towards their mothers. The men would be out at war and everything like that, and the women were the ones at the home teaching the children. So whatever that mother was, that's what the child was, and that was the issue with these people in the Bible. Every time they did these things, their children began to worship idols that were not of their nation. And that was the downfall of their nation at each and every time. And it's
Wow,
like,
what you just said was so wild. All right, so you're saying that whenever an oppressed people
I
started to
said,
worship,
I said in the scriptures, yeah.
yeah, all right, in the scripture, this is this, we're gonna we're gonna unpack this together. Now, you just said that when a people group start to worship a god from outside, can you just say that part again?
Yes. In the scriptures, whenever this particular nation, not all of them, not all nations, but this particular nation, whenever they would marry or deal with, do business, anything, they would get into some type of trouble. Like, for instance, Job, he said he didn't even want the heathens around his dogs. You know what I mean? Because he
But you
understood that,
said God. Like you said, when they start to worship other idols, right?
yes,
Did
when
you
they
say
began
that?
to, when they began to worship idols of the nation that they mixed with, that's when it upset their God. It upset their God and caused them to anger him, which the agreement that they made was, if you do what I say, you don't worship any other gods, then you'll be blessed. When they began to go against that, that is when they got into trouble.
So I think that's interesting because it's in the Bible and we're talking about our people and you're bringing up the God of the Bible that was introduced to us in slavery.
No, the God
So
of the
what
Bible was not introduced during slavery. The God of the Bible has never been introduced on a mass level. It's actually been covered up and hidden for years.
which Bible are you reading?
Who the God of the Bible actually is has been warped and tweaked and
So then what
lied
Bible are you
about.
reading?
I read the King James version. I was
Okay,
originally
so
told he
that's
was
the
a.
Bible introduced to us
Listen,
from those
can
other
I
people.
explain? Can I explain my point? What I found through research is that this particular Bible was taken by a certain group of people and tweaked.
Translated.
It
And
was not
and
translated. It was
wasn't
tweaked.
translated accurately, but yeah, you're right. Tweaked
No,
and
what I mean,
misrepresented.
can
Yeah.
you not put words in my mouth, sir? Can I just speak real quick?
Okay.
I don't really want the commentary because we might not agree. You know what I mean? I don't want people to get the wrong idea. So what I'm trying to say is I found out that the things I was told about King James, which is that he was a blank blank and all these horrible things, I found out none of that was true. And you know, I was raised hardcore Christian. And now that I found the discrepancies between religion and what I was
Can I
taught,
ask you a question?
are we
Is
gonna
Israel?
And pause you down. All right. Well, I just wanted to speak to the King James thing. It's not about King
it's
James
okay. You can go
himself.
ahead. I'm good. Have a good one.
No,
I don't know. Moderators, when y'all palm down, y'all you may as well go ahead and get him out of here. Hold on, Scrappy. When they palm down, any of the moderators that's in here, just go ahead, cause you know what I'm saying. If you give them time to find out that they've been pawed down, they might get sassy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, y'all go ahead and handle business. Shout out to B Emmy, Thankful, and Sister Stella. Thank y'all for pawing that person down. Real quick before I let Scrappy go. So let's read the Lord's Prayer in the language, in a direct translation from the language that Jesus spoke in. Let's read, because what people fail to realize is the Bible, the King James Version Bible that they're talking about, was translated from Greek. I'm sorry, from Greek to Latin uh, to English or whatever. It took a route. It went from Aramaic and Hebrew to Greek to Latin to English, and a lot of stuff is lost in translation. And I think we can all learn a lot by getting the original version. If I can find it, where is it? Hold on. From in Aramaic. I don't know where. Okay. Wow. Google is playing with me right now. I'm going to read it to y'all in a moment. Go ahead, Scrappy. What's good, brother?
Yeah, everything good, King. Everything all
Yeah.
good. I was about to ask her like just a few questions, but she
She dropped
ran.
down. Yeah.
And Pantapos wicked as scared. I was about to ask her since she's indoctrinated, obviously everybody could see that. I was about to ask her like if she's one of those that hold the belief that, as she said, right, once a nation, and I guess she was speaking about the nation of God, or God's chosen people, which would be like the Hebrew Israelites, right?
Yeah.
The Israelites, basically. Like, I'd ask her if she believes us being a people that was put into chains and on the plantations by force. If she believes that that was a curse, because we went to worship other gods and all that. But
Yeah.
it's
Well, that
sad
would have been a good question.
yeah,
Uh,
it's sad she dropped down because you remember she said that she researched and she debunked things that people said about King James. So one of the things that people say about King James, right, is that he wrote books on demonology at the same time he was writing that version of the book. So
he
for her
didn't
to
write
say
that
that,
version. It was a whole bunch of other people wrote it and gave it to him. He put his name on it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but nonetheless, that's the book she wholly reveres to be the word of the Lord, and as something that actually happened historically. But nothing in none of those Abrahamic books ever happened outside of the book. Every last one of the stories, even if they take people, a certain like real historical names and geographical areas, that still don't make the stories within themselves true. You know what I mean? That's why
Yeah.
you find it on the fiction section. Like real quick, like you said, the first uh copies or Bible was from like the Greek to the Hebrew, and until now we have this English version, French, Spanish, and whatnot. But where were they plagiarized from? You know what I mean? It's plagiarized from ancient Kemet and many other places, right? Many other ancient spiritual peoples, right? Seth is Mary, Heru is this fake Jesus. They worshiping false gods, and they don't even know. But yeah, that's what that's what I'll see for that.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to also bring up the Aramaic English translation, right? So we're not going to go from the King James Version, right? King James Version is Aramaic to Greek to Latin to English. Let's just go from the words Jesus said in Aramaic to English and tell me how this Lord's Prayer sounds to you. The beginning of the Lord's Prayer says, Our Father who art in heaven. The Aramaic translation says, O birther, father, mother, who is everywhere. You birth all things in unity. Your one light, breath, and vibration within all you've given life. Then hallowed be thy name. We clear holy space around your name within. Let it be the center on which our life turns. Your kingdom come. With our natural vibration raising to your tone, we awaken the world to its higher vibration of oneness and love as our arms reach out to embrace all of your creation. So that is how vastly different what Jesus said in Aramaic sounds to what King James actually put in the Bible. So when people, especially black people, come up and they use the King James Version Bible as a reference or reasoning behind why they feel the way they feel about black people, about our liberation, or anything to do with our culture, I immediately look at them side eye because you're reading a fictitious book that was drawn up to fit the narratives that Europeans wanted it to fit. So it's like the direct translation is a completely different book. But anyway,
Real.
That's not true because in the Bible, Europeans have no land. Like they're literally left with no
before you
land
start
and place to
talking,
live.
give us your
They are
age, your
cursed.
race, and your pronouns. Blue response.
What? Name Asian pronouns. What the hell
Yeah.
is this? A dating site?
All right. You're not mature enough to be up here. Bye bye. All right. A
Timothy,
dating
greetings.
site. Like, what dating site is? Are you coming on? Like, what? Well, I don't know what kind of freaky things you do at night. Blue response, but I don't be on them kind of sites.
And can I make a quick comment, bro?
Yeah.
You notice the Aramaic version, right? It has like a more esoteric and Gnostic teachings with it, because it says that the creator of all things essence is within all things that it created, right? And it mentioned like both masculine and feminine nature of that.
Right. It did. It says Father and Mother, who is everywhere, not just our Father who art in heaven. Yep.
Yep.
Yep. And it says it talks about vibration and oneness. It gets deep. Your will be
Yep.
done on earth as it is in heaven. The Aramaic translation says, as we find your love in ours, you awaken a divine cooperation within. From many selves, one voice, one will moving in harmony with yours, as stars and planets dance through the sky. So that's the on earth as it is in heaven part. Like, you see why you can't trust honkies? Like, like you can't trust them with your spiritual book? Are you serious? They did not translate it. They didn't even try to translate this, y'all. But anyway, what's going on, Timothy?
Hey, what's going on, family? Yep,
Yeah.
100%. I mean, it's a world of difference. That's the reason why it's so dangerous to have like these, to have them be the interpreters of our spiritual consciousness. Like, what?
That's crazy.
Like, yo, it's even been proven that the demographic with the most calcified pineal gland, and for those who don't know, the pineal gland is a gland in the brain that's responsible for your perception of reality. It also produces the chemicals necessary for you to go to sleep and the chemicals necessary for you to wake up. So, and there's a lot of ancient knowledge that's surrounding the pineal gland. And the demographic that has the most calcified, meaning the most like small crystallizations of the pineal gland, meaning the least likely ability to be able to tap into, because there's a lot more research that needs to be done about the pineal gland, but the more research that's being done about it, the more they're starting to understand its nature. But the demographic that has the most calcified pineal gland are YT people, which means that we are literally getting an interpretation of our own spirituality from the demographic that is the least likely to be able to tap into the concepts of reality versus not reality. Okay. So it's like when you even the science is showing that we need to stop accepting what they tell us and start looking more internally with our own African people.
All right. Yeah. Absolutely. As far as, Christianity, let's look at Europe in general. Like, Christianity says, thou shalt not unalive, right? So did Europe do more unaliving or less unaliving after Christianity was introduced? Did they follow Christianity? Did they, thou shalt not steal, right? We could just look at the first two commandments, right? Did they do less of that after they were introduced to Christianity? Like, did they follow it? Or, like, it doesn't seem like it, because after Christianity was introduced in 16, by the time we get to 1619, after the papal edict and all that other stuff, the manifest destiny, they started colonizing the whole world and stealing land and stealing people from their land. So they didn't care about no 10 commandments. I guarantee you that.
Exactly.
Yeah. IFC, give us your age, race, and pronouns, please.
Hi, hello. Age 28. Um, I'm Middle Eastern, Yemeni. And pronouns is he, him.
Okay, so are you a black Middle Eastern person?
I would say I'm of the darker variety. So, yeah, compared to other Middle Easterners.
Do you
Just,
have African lineage?
um,
Is your mother or
well,
father an African?
no, they're both Yemeni.
Okay,
So Middle
so,
Eastern.
all right. So,
Um, yeah, I'll just
yeah.
try and stick to the questions. I've been watching your lives like before and stuff. Sorry if you can't understand me. My accent is a bit. I'm from the UK. I'll try my
Hmm.
best to speak formally. See, I look at it as this, like when have white people have, or black people, or say Middle Eastern people have been united, don't we all come from many tribes? Because that's how I see Africa and other places. We're all tribal. We all have our own. We exist in tribes. We have our own
Are you talking
cultures.
about Africans or are you talking about white people?
I would say both. I would say the whole, and the Middle East, especially because where I come from, in Yemen, it's very tribal. I mean, there's a divide there. When my parents immigrated to the UK, their community was from one tribe in Yemen, and they didn't really they did speak with the other people who were from other parts of the Yemen, but they had their own communities because they have a different culture, so they stuck together in a sense. And so
Okay, so when you talk about tribalism, what does that have to do with race? How does it correlate?
because this is sort of a construct that we've put ourselves because of nationalistic terms. That's where the white race came from, to subjugate it. When Europe came out, they wanted
So you
a
see white people as a
sort of
tribe.
yeah, they were very tribal. Most wars came in. Most wars and battles were fought in Europe. They were
So
fighting against each
so
other.
you associate tribalism with violence.
It's not necessarily violence. I mean, like, violence has always unfortunately existed in nature. Because I know, like, the England and the French fought each other for 800 years, but now suddenly they're unified in sort of this Western idea concept, because they've all sort of united the Western world to sort of, spread their values and interests, right? And so they've succeeded in that, but
Mm.
they've had for that to happen, they've had to subjugate others. And I see it in the Middle East with this, when Pan-Arabism happened, and
Why do you call
Arabs.
yourself Middle Eastern?
Because I don't even like the term Arab, really. There's no such thing as a true Arab. Arabs, that was the name called upon us, I think, because anyone who had a similar culture identified as an Arab, say if you spoke in Arabic language. But say, for instance, the North Africans, they're essentially Berbers, and then you have sort of the people in the Levant region, like Lebanon, Syria. Their identity, they were like sort of from the Roman era and stuff like this. That's why they're more fair-skinned. But they've essentially been called Arabs because of the similar culture. The only really true Arabs are from South Arabia before they spread out. So I guess you could say I'm an Arab, but I'm definitely Middle Eastern, if that makes sense.
Middle Eastern is a term created by British people. So
Yeah.
I'm interested in why you would identify with the same people that you're speaking,
Yeah, yeah, I
so
guess so.
much
Yeah,
about. Like,
I guess that is true. Um,
because it's
yeah, and
middle of
maybe
where?
talking
Like,
about,
what makes it the middle? What makes it east? East of where? East of Europe. That's where. So they said, it's not all the way in China. So it's the Middle East. The
yeah,
Middle East of here in Europe. Like,
yeah,
so it's like to identify yourself based on what Europeans call you is,
yeah,
part of what black people talk about.
yeah. I heard that,
Can,
and
can I ask him a quick question?
Hmm.
Um, uh, I have seen. Is that an image of LeBron James you got in your profile photo?
yeah, he's wearing the Liverpool shirt, and I'm from Liverpool.
Ah, okay. Because some people in the chats was saying like you're a whole black person, and they was thinking like you was black. But that's an image of LeBron James, fam.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm a big fan. Um, Sorry that I got off topic. I just the whole concept of a skin color being one people, or say the
Skin
African
color.
people.
We're talking
Yeah,
about
sorry.
race, not skin color.
Yeah, okay.
This is
Well,
you're falling for all the common misconceptions that I don't know if maybe it's a language barrier thing with Middle Eastern people, because in that side of the world, I guess Arabs kind of run shit, and y'all got your own colonizers out there. So maybe y'all don't understand race as much as you think you do. Because I hear it a lot when y'all come up here that you think when we talk about race, we're talking about skin color. And
okay.
there are Indian people darker than me that will still get preferential treatment because they're Asian, not a descendant of an African. So
Mm,
there's still a difference. It's not race is not just skin color. I know black people that get treated like black people, but if I were to show you a patch of their skin or show you their hand, you would say that's a white person's hand or yellow like an Asian person's hand. You wouldn't know because there are
yeah, yeah,
light-skinned black people. So
yeah. I hear that.
you see what I'm saying? It's not about
Yeah,
skin color.
sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I heard that. I just this whole like concept of things, because I feel like if any people that wish to unify based on like race, there's always like a subjugation of another people, because you need sort of this um nationalistic idea to try and unify the tribes. So there's got to be a cut-off point of what is and what isn't black, and so or what isn't white, or what is and what isn't Arab, and then there's always a subjugation. If
And
you
that's
if
another.
you want,
See, that's what I'm saying. That's what makes racism different from tribalism. Because what you said is true for tribalism. What is or what isn't us is up to us. What is or isn't you is up to you. Now we're tribalists. However, in racism, white supremacy, whatever is or isn't white is up to white people, and what is and isn't black is also up to white people. What isn't shoot. Some white people, as far as the U.S. Census, consider you white. And then some white people would call you brown. They also call Mexicans brown. Y'all ain't the same people, but they just gonna tell you you are non-white and you're not black. So you're somewhere either. Well, some of us will consider you Caucasian. Some of us will just call you brown. Whatever the hell that means. So it doesn't make sense. Racism doesn't make sense. We have to remember that it's built to oppress. It's not built to make sense. And what race someone is has always been decided by one group. Not we don't have autonomy in deciding who is and isn't.
yeah, I hear that. I just feel like in some
Facts.
ways, yeah, in some ways we were better off as tribes when we got to know each other and kept our boundaries. Because just because the Europeans decided to unify this race concept, and you know I remember the League of Nations in the early 20th century when only the white nations were allowed to be in the UN. And so just because they built that concept, why should we sort of destroy the tribes that have existed for thousands of years to sort of unify in a concept?
We don't have that ability. I think that's what I'm trying to get across is there's a level of subjugation. We don't decide whether or not we're going to participate in racism or not. White people decide that. We survive it. We try many different ways to liberate ourselves, to distance ourselves from the effects, to, find peace in this life wherever we can. But seeing as how there's an influence of racism in all 10 areas of people activity, as soon as we come into contact with these people, they influence how we move and what we're allowed to do. So when we're by ourselves, it's a little bit easier, but then there are so many of us that also perpetuate and become an instrument for racism that or anti-blackness rather, that, we end up still being victimized by our oppressor through our own people. So, so it's different than just tribalism. And, I would say, I hear what you're saying, because the way you're going sounds like all people should get along and just express their differences and keep their culture. And we would love nothing more, Like we would love that. However, that's not the case for us right now. Right now, we have a system of racism to dismantle, or a system of black power to start building. We have to choose what we're going to do.
Okay, yeah, I hear that. And just to finish off, because in America, say the United States, are the black people, say, are the different communities depending on the countries they came from, or is it just sort of one unified people in a sense? They share the culture from different parts of Africa. Like, how does it work? Because
What
I
do you
know in the
mean?
UK it's different. Because in the UK, say for instance, people maybe from Middle East or Asia will have their own communities, if that makes sense. So if someone's from Yemen, they will have their own community. Someone's from Egypt, or someone's from, say, a certain part in Pakistan, they'll have their own communities, if that makes sense. So I was just wondering, because obviously black people come from all parts of Africa. Do they have their own communities, or is it just one unified people in a sense based on race?
The people groups that you mentioned still work together. So, they still operate the same. If I were going to date their daughter, if I went to a Palestinian, Iranian, Afghanistan, I don't know, whatever type of person, whatever Yemeni, Saudi Arabian, UAE, whatever, wherever they from, and I said, hey, I'm so glad you guys aren't racist, man. By the way, I'm going to be marrying your daughter and having little black children with her, and all of my friends are going to have children with all of your other daughters as well. And your next generation of your family is going to be all black, buddy. We're going to inherit the wealth that you and your forefathers built. They would all look at us crazy.
Yeah.
I don't care what race they are. You know what I'm saying? I don't care. They would all, in unison, agree on that stance that whoa. Now, if I were white, maybe they'd think a little differently. Maybe they'd say, all right, we came up. All right, we're going to have light-skinned children, light-skinned grandchildren. All right, they might look at it a little differently. They might say, all right, we got some future world leaders in this family coming out. All right, like that. You understand? So they have a shared interest in adversarialness towards black people. Like there's a shared anti-blackness.
Yeah. I defo agree with that.
And that's something black people can unify on. That's something black people have unified on. And I've been in spaces with all type of Nigerian and Jamaican and Haitian and Brazilian. I done met all kinds of black people from all over the world. And I'm telling you, it's the same. We all the same. Like, we might just speak a different language, just like a Palestinian and a Saudi Arabian. They might have different cultural differences, but you know, when I say salam alaikum, they know what the hell I'm talking about.
Yeah, I hear you. Because they would like you to adapt to their culture, but they would never adapt to your culture in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Is that fair?
Yeah. I mean, that's been consistent pattern in history. All right, let me go to the next guest. Appreciate you.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Yo.
XO, give us your age, race, and pronouns, please.
Age, I'm 21. Race. If I'm gonna keep, for the sake of the conversation, I'll just say mixed. But I don't like
It's not a race. I'll give you another chance. When you say mixed, I assume you have a black parent.
No.
Good. All right. So tell us your race.
Mixed.
Which parent is less white?
My mother.
All right. And what race is your mother?
I don't know, man. I'm Hispanic, and in our culture, we don't use race. We go by, we just
That's
say
a
Puerto
damn
Rican.
lie. You said Hispanic. Spanish people created caste systems for race from Blanquimento Blanquemente to Mejorar la Raza to y'all did that too. Don't play with me right now. So if your mom ain't white, what? Are you talking about? Yeah. Okay. All right. So who the hell do you think I'm talking about? Did I speak in Greek? Spanish?
Well,
yes.
I'm not from Spain. I'm not from Spain.
Yeah, but you said you're Hispanic, correct?
Yeah, but I come from a
Why do you
mixed
think they call it
ancestry.
Hispanic if it ain't got nothing to do with Spain?
Though. We come from
You what?
us Puerto Ricans. We come from Africans, Tainos, and Europeans. We mixed.
All right. So first of all, do you practice a Taino indigenous culture?
I'm trying to learn the language of our original people. Yeah.
Okay. Learning the language is not the same thing as practicing the culture. In order to be
Hey,
indigenous,
we gotta start somewhere, man. A language is a big blueprint.
you should have started a long time ago if that's what you were. Now, if that's what you want to learn to be, that's something different. But if you're going to say that's what you are, then you should have been studying that since you was 5 years old.
You
2
can
years
be
old, you would have
something.
known.
You can be something and not be educated on your history.
That is true. However, when it comes to indigeneity, they don't use blood quantum in order to identify themselves. You can have blood from the tribe, but not actually be considered part of the tribe if you don't practice the indigenous culture.
Puerto Ricans have a lot of influence from our indigenous ancestors when it comes to our statues, when it comes to even our languages. We use a lot of the slangs. We use a lot of the words that our ancestors used into our language.
I understand that. The comments are saying you're white, so you must look white.
Yeah.
All right, so that's all you had to say. That's all you had to say. That's all you had to say. If you got that much colonizer, if you got so much colonizer in you, except he said his mother not white though, so I guess he could try to claim something else, but we just gonna go with white because you acting confused, and whenever a person is confused and they got a white parent, I accept them as white. I'm not confused.
I know what I am, but you know, if the comments want to say that, they go ahead.
Puerto Rican is not a race. We can start there. It's not a race. It's a nationality. So there are black Puerto Ricans. There are indigenous Puerto Ricans. Not many of them really are still around, but people still claim it. And then there are white colonizer descendants Puerto Ricans. And depending on what you look like, we can easily tell if you are black or not. And you know you ain't black, and you know you look in your face, you look in the mirror, and you look like Ponce de Leon, then you know damn sure You ain't no African, so like,
Well, I can
come
tell you
on
this: I
now.
definitely don't look like Ponce de Leon, but I also don't look like Malcolm X. So it's definitely a mixture
Yeah,
there.
yeah, nah, you close enough.
But
Go
yeah,
ahead, talk to us.
basically, I want to ask you this actually because I always hear this. I always hear like a different definition when it comes to like white, black, right? Like the culture of white and black, right? Like, it confuses me, right? What is black and the white culture?
So black culture is the culture of Africans in oppression. Rooted in African culture, it's a Western expression of African culture. White culture is colonization, imperialism, incest.
It's just so weird.
He thinks that's funny.
Wait, no. I'm just
Brother,
no, cause like
I'm
I'm genuinely
sorry.
curious. Like, what?
First of all, sir, I'm sorry, brother, to interrupt. First of all, brother, I'm just gonna say, and it's for everybody. If you cannot identify yourself correctly as to what your race is when you get in this room, you are not even really allowed to talk in here. But then you want to sit here and giggle about stuff and be rude. So I'm just saying, if anybody got paws they want to use, they can use them now because this is technically you shouldn't even be allowed to be asking anything or saying anything. I mean,
All right,
if we following rules of the room, brother, that is.
Camino was
I
talking.
wasn't following the rules, but she's right. Normally, I wouldn't even let you talk, XO, because you don't know what race you are, and you're asking us what the hell race even is. So it's like, why did you even come up here? You know, I don't see a
Exactly.
quantum physics
No, because
lie.
it leads to conversation. Stella, you cannot be ignorant and deny people
Oh, now you
conversation.
gone.
So
See, you calling me ignorant? You gone.
All
Sorry,
right,
brother, but yeah, ain't
it's
nobody gonna
okay.
disrespect me.
All
Sorry.
right, yeah, it's all right.
All right,
We'll
I
go
just
to the
stepped
next
up for
guest.
that. I'm going down.
All right.
Peace, brother.
Big peace, sister. Big up to BME for the Panther Paw. Go to the next guest. Devin, give us your age, race, and pronouns, please.
Hey, how's it going, bro? My race. Well, I'm Native American. I'm Native American. I got a German name, but I mean, I would say I'm Caucasian because I'm white. But the reason I don't really say that, I feel like we are all shades of wheat under in God's country, because you have your whiter wheat, you have your darker wheat, etc. I
Man, you
believe
sound
we
like
are
you
all
out there
bound
with the
together
wheat.
spiritually.
He sound like he in the wheat fields.
Well, I mean, these cicadas out here are really bad. It's what's the other word for them? You know what cicadas are? They're pretty bad around here. I just got one sitting up in the tree. Has been bugging me the
Oh,
past
okay.
hour. But yeah, I believe we're all family. We're all brothers and sisters. I mean, to a certain extent. Now there was. I mean, there's some points that I didn't really agree with some other people are saying. I kind of got off track, and to be honest, it kind of slipped my mind because I was carrying in groceries while I was trying to listen in as well. But yeah, I mean, I appreciate what y'all are doing. Y'all sitting here talking about it, trying to be respectful and stuff. I just don't understand. After so many years of all this animosity and stuff, I grew up in Charlotte. I grew up. I was the only white kid in the neighborhood, and everybody called me Rooster. I get, they pick on me. I get mad. I didn't really grow up to see race or anything, and I had a quote. Somebody told me that we're all wheat. God's the farmer. So like, I believe as long as everybody can be, just kind and passionate towards each other, I feel like we can all live in peace and stuff, and we won't have all this animosity and all this racial stuff, because really racism, like, I don't take any offense, but I think racism itself is ignorant as fuck, because why would you hate on somebody or just because they're a different shade or anything? Why can't you try to learn from them? Like, I believe that our cultures are intertwined at some point. Do you agree?
No. That's funny though.
Yeah, because can I say this real quick? Because they did learn from us. The only problem is they didn't say thank you, black man. You taught us how to clean and write, read, and so much more.
Hmm. Hmm. Are we family at the bank? Cause we waiting.
Be
We
to be
waiting for
honest, if you're
some. What?
well, if you're homeless and you're struggling, and I see you struggling, I find it in my heart that I can help anybody. It don't matter what your color is. It don't matter what your past is. As
Last
long
I
as
checked. Last I checked, the United States government lost 13 trillion in racist practices in banking. So if you want to get together with your family and friends and maybe put together a petition or something, to maybe make us all get along in the bank and then the financial sector, that'd be nice. You know, I'm waiting for
well, it
that.
don't start in the bank. It starts with partnership, and it starts with you being close to somebody and getting to understand them personally, face to face.
Why does it start that way?
And that's just me what I've learned in my
You didn't
because
try
that's
to
what I
get
learned in my personal
your
experience. Because if
ancestors
you
didn't
get
try to your ancestors didn't try to get to know us before they put us on boats and brought us here in the first place. So why we got to get to know
okay, do
you
you
to get the
know
money
where it
back?
started?
I'm saying
Hey, but
the
I'm
money
not the
that
one
I'm
that took it
talking about.
personally, am I?
If he got 5, sell it. Go ahead, take him out. But I'm trying to tell y'all got to do it because I'm not. Y'all got to do it. I got moderators in here.
That was
Well,
four.
yeah, I understand your points. Yeah, I understand your points, and I agree with it because it was, a lot of that shit was really fucked up. But what happened? Like, the only thing we can do is learn from our past. A lot of people's not going to learn. Me, I try to do the best of what I can do because it wasn't.
All right, there we go. Big up to everybody sent the pause in.
Right on,
Hey,
right on.
man. Yeah, hey, listen, you can learn something from them yeehaws. You know what I'm saying? We're not here to educate them,
Hey,
but we can learn how they think when we not around because they
hey,
probably going to
Trip, he
reveal
tried to
something.
attach himself to the chocolate, and he had none in him. He claimed native and indigenous, and
Yeah,
science say they ain't got none of us in them neither. So check this out. Here it is, guys. It's called polarity. It's the only universal law that's throughout the infinite distance of it all. It's called extreme opposites. We are the creators. We are the creators. What is the opposite of creation? Somebody say it. Anybody interrupt me. What is the opposite of creation?
White
Say it
supremacy.
louder.
Destruction.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. And this is our vibe. This is our rhythm. This is our motion. This is our feeling. This is our melanin. It's all creation. The deepest depths of creation. That's who we are. And the opposite of that is them. And guys, this is what I was typing in the text. It's polarity, but they wear fur. Fur wearers stick with fur wearers. A Chinese person will hook up and create a partnership with a Arab, a Saudi Arabian, or Israeli Jew, or a Irishman 10,000 times faster than he'll hook up with us. Brother Legend, I heard you speaking. You were talking about if you dated one. Let me tell you, every nationality would date every nationality and the parents would back them except us. You bring one of us home to anybody's household, baby. And when I say that chocolate and that non-fur and all this melanin will be rejected, man, mixed race people got it bad. And Mexicans are the second wave of whitey. They are whitey. Spain was right next to England, was right next to Portugal. Spain had its slaves in the Aztecs and the Incas during the whole Middle Passage and conquering of South America, the New World, all that Christopher Columbus stuff back in the 15th century. But listen, they're all in Europe. They're all Europeans. Eastern Asia, etc. That's Europe. That's Europe. Okay? That's Europe. West Asia is European. East, they all wear fur, guys. So let me tell you what the opposite of fur. Remember, I started off talking about polarity, extreme opposites. Okay? Extreme opposites, black and white, up and down, left and right, straight hair and curly. I'll take y'all responses off the air, guys, but he tried to identify with some curl. Sorry,
Can I
man,
say
you
this
got the
real
same
quick?
thing that come out of the cat, same thing that come out of the rat, the same thing that come out of the dog, and y'all hate us because there's no other creature above the sky, below the ocean that look like us. We got curls, man. That's 360 degrees round of information stored in our DNA. Much respect. I'll take y'all responses off.
All right, I'm gonna assume you're a black person. Are you a black
Yep,
person?
a little bit gutter, a little bit gutter, a little bit gutter. I'm just educated.
All right. We'll take it. We'll take your word for it. Sound like a brother. So we going. Usually we have people introduce themselves, but I got a feeling as a brother.
Okay, well, I apologize. I didn't know the procedure. You just had me a little hot trying to blend in. Like we all God's people. We're brothers and sisters. And, you know, out here on the forum, they called me, and I just dealt with it. I can't deal with that, man. I can't deal with it because it's been going on for too long, over 470 years. But that has nothing to do. Listen, I can't understand how our people would even think about appreciating Christianity. For over 1,100 years, they've been enslaving us with that mentality, getting us under their superiority. But I'm going to tell you what's even worse is Islam. They've been raping and stealing and pillaging the continent of Africa for 2,500 years. 2,500 years. And you say your name is Brother Abdullah Kareem? What? What? Man, do you know that was beat into you just like Christianity was beaten to the rest of us? I can't do it, man. I ain't got no sky daddy. So I'll take y'all responses off the air, man. I'm not trying to go in, boy. Go ahead. I'm listening.
Let me just say this real quick. You know, everything you just said, bro, it sounds funny, but it's so true. And that's the first time I've ever heard someone explain the law of polarity through pigmentation, bro. Like, like that was on point. Yeah, but go ahead.
It's a universal law, brother. It's a universal law. I'd like Brother Legend to go ahead and you know, add that into his mix. You know what I'm saying? Because in polarity, you got to understand. If you look the word up, I haven't looked it up. I haven't used the dictionary, but
I don't know what y'all talking about.
Extreme opposites. Extreme opposites.
Now,
Like,
what's the difference between polarity and a dichotomy?
Oh shoot, you tell me.
Dichotomy. If you read the book Yurugu, you kind of understand more about it. But dichotomy is the thinking of Europeans. They think in polar opposites. They think, you know, if we say we want to be liberated as black people, that's the same thing as reverse racism, because the opposite of racism is reverse racism. The opposite of white supremacy is black supremacy. They think in dichotomies. They think in total opposites. Is that what polarity is?
I feel you. No, sir. No, sir.
Okay.
Polarity is the universal law, and I'll give you a slight little touch of science. Outside of Earth's atmosphere, that dark matter that's above that big blue planet, that ball, is 312 degrees below zero. I said below zero. But if you go over to the sun, guess what you got in the middle of all that 300 and 400 degrees below zero? Don't go out to Pluto. Pluto is like 712 degrees below zero. It's cold. But in the middle of that freezing extreme, that's extreme cold, is something called a sun or a star. That's polarity. Do you understand what I'm saying? And what I'm saying is there is energy in both. They have not, with all his white science, he has not been able to capture dark matter. But he noticed there's something moving and expanding. He just can't capture it. But he is able to calculate specifics on heat and radiation. He has the science to do that, but he can't capture dark matter. And for polarity in melanin, let's stick with melanin. You guys ever see research animals? I mean, have you ever wondered why they're always all white chickens, all white rabbits, all white rats? It's because those creatures are bred to be melanin free. That's what they use as their test subjects when they make hair dye, when they make lipstick, when they make makeup, when they make perfumes and colognes. They do it for those creatures. That's why they are their test creatures, test animals. They will not use melanated anything. It is not for us. None of the inventions that they are providing us with is for our melanin. Do you understand? This is polarity. Because see, with us, we welcome everything and they reject everything but their own. That's the polarity in it. That's melanin. They don't want melanin. They dislike melanin. We love it. Oh man, we so proud to be black. At least I am. And I'm darker than the average black man, especially here in America, because we started breeding since integration, man. And I think we done lost the way. Anybody been on a dating site lately? They all look like sisters and cousins. They all look like sisters and cousins. Everybody's fake. I ain't seen a nap yet. Maybe two in 2 months of looking at the dang on black or
I thank
Afro
God for my wife,
introduction.
man. My wife about as black as the TV turned off.
Oh my goodness, lucky man, lucky man. I couldn't get one of them if I had a 10-foot pole. I mean, within a 10-foot pole. The dark black woman, as dark as I am, brother, they would not even dare spit a hello, let alone a glance of the eye. And I spot them in every crowd. In every crowd, man. I'm so dark, man. I look like a silhouette from 15 feet away, and I'm not Sudanese. I was born and raised here. My family picked cotton. My mama picked cotton. All her brothers and sisters, my uncles, my aunties, my grandma.
What part of South y'all come from? Texas?
Texas and
wow.
Louisiana. Pops is Louisiana side, and Mom's is the Texas side. Man, I can cook my butt off. Matter of fact, the videos that I have on my profile, I'm new to TikTok, but you know, I'm in the flavor where I need to be. You know what I'm saying? I'm attracting the crowd. I'm getting the right videos, and I'm hooking up with the right people. You know what I'm saying? Because this is me, man. I love us. I want all black everything, but I know we can't do it. What was his name? Killer Mike? He tried it. He said the only thing you find yourself able to accomplish was what? Riding a bicycle to everywhere he needed to go?
Right, yeah.
Good night. Man, that's deep. That's deep, and that's bad on us. But here's my thing, man. I just want to throw this in here, and I know it's going to be an insult, but you got to take it as an insult in order to reach your reality. It's the black man's fault. Because, see, the thing that doesn't make us a fur wearer is what fur wearers do. And I'm going to tell you something that fur wearers do. They provide governments and armies to provide for their women. And the black male, the African male, we ain't did that yet, man. These white folks got something called bombs. Say it one time. Bombs. I hear brothers on TikTok, they got whole pages talking about, yeah, I just bought this AK-14. I restored it myself. Everything in it. Guess where you got that from?
Hey, brother, we 100%
Guess
agree
where
with
the
you.
bullets,
Brother,
the
just real quick,
bullets come from?
Brother, we 100% agree with you. It's just you got to watch out for certain words. Say pew pew or pow pows or or kabooms.
Okay.
Yeah, we on TikTok. You gotta talk like a Teletubby.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm not familiar with it. Like I said, I'm new. I already said that. I am new. So eventually I'll get the hang of it. I'll just go off the mic, man, because I'm so passionate about this blackness, bro. I look at myself in the mirror, man. I can't see nothing but my eyes and my teeth, and I love it.
I heard that. Big up to all my melanated brothers and sisters, man. Richly melanated. And I also want to say, you know, Dr. Amos Wilson talks about this, where the only reason black people are still subjugation rather to racist white supremacy is because black men have not decided it was enough. We haven't decided, you know what, this is over. I'm tired of it now. You know, I quit. I wouldn't say it's their fault. I would say it's their responsibility. And because we as a collective of black men have so many obstacles to unifying, even when we're alone, I remember at one point after 2020, like maybe like 2021, it would be controversial for me in a room full of black men to say that I wasn't voting for Donald Trump. Like black men would, you know, the black men I was around, not saying that's most black men because most of them didn't vote for Donald Trump, but I'm saying, you know, if we're going to look at, you know, voting and participating in a white supremacist power structure as a way to be docile and continue your own oppression, you know, because voting has never been a revolutionary act. So, you know, why am I being vilified in a room full of brothers because I'm saying I'm not voting for someone that's blatantly racist, just as racist as the other side, but racist nonetheless, in participating in Western imperialism? Like, what is the point of this? You know? So it is over when brothers decide it's over. But it would take a group collective, you know, in order for it not to just be destruction. There are 4 ways a victim of systemic oppression can react, according to Dr. Neely Fuller Jr. That is cooperation. I'm sorry, that's not the first one. The first one is submission, cooperation, resistance, and destruction, or retaliation, as I like to call it. Destruction, it usually happens when you're Martin Luther King or you're Malcolm X. You are not going to hear a black little boy. You are not going to hear a black little boy say, I want to be Martin Luther King when I grow up, or Malcolm X. Malcolm X was mutilated on that stage. No black child wants to be them. And that was the point, to make an example. That's something that used to go on in the plantation. They would have plantations for buck breaking. So whenever you started to feel yourself a little bit black, man, they'll humble you. And that's just something that's on us. But I appreciate that nuance. I wanted to bring that out further. Detroit, what's going on, brother?
Man, what's up, bro? Dude, I had to come in here to decompress. Nah, I remember, dude, when I first started coming on your live, I was like, I would go in the YT supremacy lives because it used to make me mad. You get what I'm saying? I stopped doing that because I knew it was triggering me. It was making me too angry, so I stopped it. So obviously, you just brought it up. That's why I came up. You brought up the voting. So obviously, I don't subscribe to neither party, but like you just said, there's no way I'm gonna vote for Trump. So I was in 2 lives today. One I got blocked in, which is cool. I ain't tripping off that, but I came out of the 2 lives feeling like we're doomed. You know what you said, dude? Because I cannot understand it, dude. It's to the point where I think they actually feel like we've arrived. And dude, Sonia Massey just happened, and I can't put it together how you can obviously think, oh, we here now. Everything is okay. Like I keep hearing this, it was so long ago. And I used to hear that in the YT supremacist live. And I don't understand how as a black person you could ever bring yourself to think like, oh, it's getting better. Oh, we're free. You know what you said the other day, dude? And if I got tattoos on me, I would get it tattooed on me. And I said it a while ago on your live that I think Harriet Tubman was one of our greatest leaders. So you said, if I freed 1,000 slaves, but I would have freed 1,000 more if they knew they were slaves. Bro, that's so heavy. Like I was so mad in these lives because like one, I got gifts. You get what I'm saying? But it ain't even the only thing that the gifts represented was at least is some black people out there who understand what I was saying. That's all I took from the gifts. I didn't take like, okay, it's so helpful. Then I go in the other live and it's the same thing. Like it's a sprinkle of black people here and there who understand what the people that are in your live are feeling. But then on a mass scale on TikTok, and I hate to make TikTok like it's in abundance because there's a real world out here, and I know the real world is totally different. But I peruse around on TikTok and I'm trying to figure out like where are these black people in real life, and how did they get all y'all in TikTok in one space to think this idiotic? Dude, I was like, man, I was so glad I seen you pop up. I was like, man, let me go in here and decompress and get back to reality, man. Cause I really, I really just can't fathom just sitting there and being like, oh, Central Park 5, because someone was like, oh, Central Park 5, that wasn't his fault. They like, oh, it was the police who did that. I said, well, did the police take out that large ad in the New York Times? Well, what would you do if they were convicted? What are you talking about? He put out the ad way before they got convicted, but the thought process of black people just to make up any excuse to be in proximity of YT is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's like, ooh, I want to assimilate so bad. Like, tell me when they went out there when they went out their way to assimilate with you. And then the talking point of some people's like, oh, you voting for her just because you black? Why would you? Well, they've been doing it for so long, so why would it be any different?
Well, that's the thing. You ain't lying. We doomed, but we've been doomed for a long time.
My bad, bro. I you know what? I feel bad for even saying that because I believe in us. You get what I'm saying? Because we're super intelligent. We've been super intelligent. Don't get me wrong, man. But it's just like.
But we are poisoned. We're poisoned against ourselves.
Dude, it's like y'all see a little bit of advancement, and you feel like it's over. And the only reason I even use such a heavy word as advancement is because a certain faction of us now understand, okay, I don't have to sell D. You get what I'm saying? I don't have to have a wicked jump shot. You get what I'm saying? It's other ways. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
But that don't mean, oh, I forget about what happened. I ain't forgot about it and I never will.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The constructs of racism, white supremacy, like they depend on an extreme amount of deceit and they depend on an extreme amount of violence. So that's the reason why a lot of our African family are so lost in the sauce, because that deceit part is the part that they're hyperfixating on, only because the systems and the constructs of racism, white supremacy forcibly put that deceit in every single space that we go to. They even manipulate the algorithms on the social media apps and the TV programs that we go to cater to what's within the best interests of benefiting racism, white supremacy. So we got to be very, very on code with that. People think that, oh, I'm just going to flipping through this stuff and thinking that they're not manipulating what it is that I'm seeing. Even when you go to the movies, every single film you are watching has been fine-tooth catered to benefit them in some way, shape, or form. They thought Black Panther was going to do that because they pitted African Americans against our own African family in that film. But what they didn't bank on is the fact that we ultimately still use that film as a way to unify us and uplift us as African people. However, it still has its issues. Let's be very real. Unaliver Monger would have unified with T'Challa and they would have been like, all right, bet. So who's the real oppressors? Them? Cool. Let's figure some stuff out. Like that would have been what really would have happened with that story. But of course, YT people owning the production companies had to make sure that that wasn't the story that was told. So.
Yeah, then like I was looking at it, like they brought up the talking point about Kamala is married to a YT man. So it's not like that makes it better with my defense of why. You get what I'm saying? Like it's always something for him to come up with, and I wish she wasn't in the situation she's in, but then that's indicative of how some of us think, like, oh, it's okay for me to do this because we're accepted. But you're on the arm of one of them, and then they call you a DEI candidate because they still see you for what you are.
The only way a quote unquote black person makes it to the throne of white supremacy is if the white supremacist allows. So, Kamala Harris being president is not going to liberate us because we still need to ask them for permission. And Kamala Harris obviously has permission. So, Malcolm X said self-determination. That's what we should be aiming for. So, we can't be self-determined and be determined by our oppressor at the same time. So,
No doubt, I ain't gonna hold up your box, bro. I appreciate y'all as usual.
All right, appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, I'm
Big
gonna
up to
drop
brother
down.
Detroit.
I'm gonna drop down real quick too, but before I leave out, I'd just like to piggyback on what you was saying about like how they did Malcolm and basically just making an example to intimidate our younger generations to not grow up and emulate such people. Like it's the same all across the board, even in Africa, in America, the Caribbean is the same thing. Yeah, just recently, Ibrahim, I translated the speech of Ibrahim Traore at that ES federation between Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali. Right, Mali is Assimi Goita, Burkina Faso is Traore, and Niger is Tichani. No, that's massive, real massive. That's the first time in a long time that three major African countries merge together like in unison in a spirit of like sovereignty and self determination, like against the colonial rule. And I translated his speech, and in the speech he said that they they already try to get him out many times with their different attempts. Asimi Goita is no different. He as well, they try to
Yes.
get them out. And he said, Traore said that they sent him letters and whatnot, telling him like, oh, such and such tried to defend and whatnot, and look, that this and this was their demise. Basically trying to tell him like, if you keep on going in that direction, this is what will happen to you. He told him like, la patrie ou la mort. You feel me? Is the people freedom or on alive? Yeah,
Yeah,
Charles, he's walking in the footsteps of Thomas Sankara,
right.
and on respect to all the sacred ancestors. I think it's yesterday or day before it was the anniversary of what's his name again?
Nat
Um,
Turner.
That Turner, right? Give thanks, bro.
Yeah.
So if you could just touch on that real quick, I'm gonna drop down. If you don't mind, yeah, that'll be great.
Touch on Nat Turner.
I want to say,
Oh yeah, we got a new person up here.
I'm gonna drop down. Give thanks,
Okay.
King.
All right. Peace, King. Appreciate you. Ashe.
hello, brother.
Peace. Give us your age, race, and pronouns, please.
And I'm Gessi. I'm from Somalia, but I'm an atheist, brothers. I recently learned about
What is your race?
African.
Okay.
Yeah.
You said you're an atheist?
Yeah, I'm an atheist. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, so
Okay.
I grew up Muslim, but I'm an atheist.
I see.
Now,
Okay.
yeah, I want to talk about like as you were saying, instead of like losing hope of like believing like we cannot like win in any shape or form, like maybe we could join together in like as a earlier brother said, like we can join the fight or like the movement in West Africa. Like it was a long time since we had like a leader in our own lifetime, like not right now, like not like before.
like who's reviving Pan-African like values and stuff like that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So he, like, as the president once said, like, Traore, if you're educated, come help and we build, and we can, get it from there. We might not achieve what we want in this generation, but our children's children will have better future than ourselves, instead of being assimilated to other cultures. Like, you can be black and proud. You cannot be like that in, like, maybe Somalia or other countries. Like, it's very pro not African. Like, it's not pro African. So I learned a lot, like, listening to you. I've been following you, like, for like a long time now. I'm glad that I found you on TikTok. I don't know if you had, like, YouTube, but I found your account very inspirational. I just wanted first time, like, I joined the live, so I'm glad that I had the opportunity to be here, to speak like that. So I would tell us, like, to be, maybe, join the fight, join the revolution in West Africa, do whatever you can, whatever education you have, like, trying to, like, educate people not to be against any ethnic, because this, to be against other ethnicities within Africa, because there's a lot of languages, and it's easy to divide us if we don't know our own history and our own struggles. Not everybody's aware, and I'm glad that you're trying to educate us, and we can all learn from each other. So I was just wanted to, join the revolution. Just, that's what I wanted to tell you.
All right, absolutely. That's what we're gonna do, man. I'll say to that, man. Yeah, I know they've taken several attempts at Brother Ibrahim Traore's life. And recently, Congress, Matt Gaetz, I think, where's Matt Gaetz from? He's from Florida. Is he? I forget where Matt Gaetz is from. He gave a speech, though, calling the AES, or no, he was calling the president of Niger. Which one is that? That's not Goida.
What was it? General Tiani.
Yeah, right. Yep. He called him a third world thug. That's what he called him. Called him a third world thug. And this is the forefront of black liberation on the continent. If anything happens to one of these three countries, like, I feel like right now, more than an activist, my work is more educational and bringing social awareness, because a lot of African Americans don't understand in enough depth what's going on in the diaspora outside of America. That's intentional. That's been intentional since we were brought here, to make sure that we don't know what's going on in Africa, on the continent.
Were you told, like, that Africans sold you guys to the Europeans, stuff like that? Like, but it's not true, right? Like, it's the Arabs.
No. Well, all right. So we could talk about that. Listen, that's a whole different topic, brother. You gonna take us? That's a whole different. There's a lot of nuance to that conversation, and no African American should blame another African for the institution of slavery. Now, we can blame those that were used as instruments to perpetuate and help grow that system, and worked only to their own benefit against the benefit of their people. Those are traitors. There were traitors in Schmatzi, Germany, with the Jewish people, if you know what I'm talking about. There were some Jewish people that worked with the Germans. So it's like, you would never say Jewish people put other Jewish people in concentration camps, So
they had their own police force, bro, and they literally used to give them the Star of David strapped on their, like, they would give them a nightstick and say, "Hey, go police your own people."
Yeah,
they would tell them to do that.
Right.
Yeah, we're the only ones. Okay.
Yeah. So right.
I didn't know that.
I'd like to ask him a few questions real quick. Alliance of Sahel region and states, right? How come your account private and you have no content about the Sahel, about Traore? like
I should do it, bro. I should join it. You know, like I've been helping. You know, like I've been trying to get like spread awareness within my family, within my community, and stuff like that. Like face to face, I hadn't like, but it's better to be online and spread the
Because you see what we're dealing with. We're dealing with what we're dealing with seriously. You feel me?
Yeah.
When we're speaking about like these actualities, even back in the motherland with the Sahel region, like you could be anyone behind your private accounts, and I be very very careful with private accounts. You feel me?
What do you mean?
When I just said that, there's brothers, right? Have gotten many attempts against their lives, bro. They are really putting their lives on the line
Wow.
for not just black people's liberation in Africa, but for the whole world, right? Me, I speak French, Creole, and English, and I understand every last word that these brothers say, right? They follow them to the T. You feel me? They looking even right now to branch out to the Caribbean. You feel me? Conscious people, because it's a lot of people that look like me and Bro Legend and you know I mean Timothy, and they don't even know if they are cat or a dog. They calling themselves everything other than. You feel me? So like if especially you say you've been spreading it around with your family friends, like why don't spread it on TikTok too? Like explain that, bro,
I've
because
noticed.
I don't trust you. I'm gonna tell you straight up, I don't trust you suspect anybody that's private on a public
You mean
like
like you don't trust
media
me?
platform. Like that, here's how I see it. If you being private on a public platform, it don't make sense you on a public platform.
Okay, you mean my account?
Yeah,
Okay. You mean like maybe you're thinking like I'm not like maybe African and stuff like that, because
bro, you could
when
even
I
be
see
blacker than
stuff
20
like this.
midnights. But what we're talking about, you could be a whole spy or traitor or anything, gathering
I
information or
understand. I
you
didn't
know
think
what I
that.
mean?
Scrappy, it
We
don't even matter on TikTok, man. You know, TikTok is just entertainment. I don't. If he is a spy, you know what I'm saying, then it don't
I'm
matter
not
on
a spy,
TikTok.
bro.
You know what I'm
You
saying?
guys.
It's just all about the content and the message going out. Because
Okay.
the only people I know are not. Well, I still don't even know if they not spy. There's who knows who's a spy. I have a platform off of TikTok, a nonprofit, B1initiative.org, 501c3 nonprofit, and we have people that sign NDAs, code of conduct. We have people building things. We have a social media team, a communications team. We're building Sankofapedia. We have a tech team that's
Are you
building.
not afraid of like getting hurt and when you're spreading this sort of message, like because a lot of leaders got hurt, like
I don't get
passing.
hurt. I'm not going to get hurt because I'm not doing anything that's getting in the way. Like Ibrahim Traore, there are four ways a victim of systemic oppression can react to that oppression. There's submission, cooperation, resistance, and destruction or retaliation. Ibrahim Traore and the presidents of the AES, they're in retaliation. They're putting their lives on the line. Me, I am doing resistance. If they try to put my life on the line, I will go back to cooperation. I'm not going to go into retaliation because me going into retaliation by myself, I am not the president of a country in the Sahel region, and I'm not willing to overthrow a government like Ibrahim Traore did. So me going into retaliation by myself would just be self-destruction that wouldn't bear any fruit for my people. Now, if my people, if black men as a collective started a culture of retaliation within our community, then yes, as a force, we would be, a force to be reckoned with. However, we would still need that support from the motherland in order for it to be successful. In order for us to truly be liberated, we won't be liberated until Africa gets their shit together. We are prisoners of war. A war is waged on Africa. We are the prisoners of that war. The prisoners of war don't get released until the war is over, until the war is won. So Africa is where the battlefield is really going down at. We need Ibrahim Traore and the presidents of the AES to do what they're doing so that we can win the war, and then the prisoners of war can feel the effects of that victory. But in the meantime, I'm
You don't
doing the best I can as far as resistance.
you don't want to like invest in stuff like that, help out and like do whatever you can.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. But even that would be a form of resistance. That wouldn't be a form of retaliation. I'm not directly destroying the system of white supremacy myself. Instead, I would rather build a resistance with black people. So that's a safer option. However,
You think also the reason why we are in this position is also because there is no, like African religion and stuff like that, like that unites instead of, pitting against one brother to another, stuff like that. Are you like a believer?
I would say I'm a believer in God, as most African people are, and I'm a believer in. When I speak of God, I speak of the Creator. I don't think of God as a deity in the sky, casting judgment on creation.
You're not like the like the
not even in the sky, in the book, all them
in the
Bible.
book.
the God is in the book. What?
Yeah. I don't do that. As far as religion, it has failed in its promise to bring righteousness to mankind. So, that being the case, I don't believe religion is going to set us free. I haven't seen it yet, and I hope it does. I hope, I don't have the answer. No one has the answer to defeat racism. No one has the answer. So no one has figured it out. There's no example we can follow of someone that has defeated white supremacy anywhere in the world. In the meantime, all we can do is, try our different ways and see what works, what sticks.
You know something, bro? The most dangerous tool for the continuation and control of colonization are these made up, man-made Abrahamic religions, right? And you know what they said? They said one good, properly controlled black priest or pastor is more dangerous than 1,000 soldiers on the battlefield. So just imagine. We don't subscribe to no book God. It could be Allah, it could be Yahweh, Jehovah, Jesus. It could be Muhammad. He loves sleeping with young 9-year-old girls. We don't subscribe to none of that. We have a culture, tradition with high morals and principles that we live by. We are people that's spiritual, not religious.
Right.
Connected to the elements.
I agree.
I
agree. The thing that I kind of look into, the pyramid texts are actually a really good understanding of our ancient African, like, Kemetic spirituality. Like, that is the oldest so-called religious texts in the world. And it's literally so old that, there's no document that could survive over 4,000 years old type stuff. Like, it's ancient. It's written on the walls of the pyramids of, I forget exactly which pyramid specifically it translates from, but
they got them pyramid texts on all of the temples in ancient Kemet. Like, that was a core part of their spirituality. And what they did, they plagiarized that spirituality into religion. But go ahead, you're on point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, absolutely. The way that I see it is that to get close to the ancestors is to research the history is to get close to the ancestors. To research our ancient African rootedness is to get closer to the ancestors. So a big part of what I've noticed in Christianity and Islam to a certain extent, not to a certain extent, big part in both Christianity and Islam, any form of Abrahamic religion, is that they basically vilify every form of you having a conversation with your own ancestors in favor of attempting to have a conversation with the ancestors that they have falsely created in their narratives. So it's like, hey, remove yourself from your own people, when we used to have full-blown conversations with our ancestors. And the minute that you make that transition back into talking to the loved ones have that have gone on to the next world or to the next realm, or gone on to the to moving into that, to being closer to the creator. The moment that you transition back into having those conversations with your own ancestors is the moment that you start having more and more clarity of self, appreciation for yourself and your African rootedness, and you stop being dependent on Eurocentric concepts of spirituality, when technically speaking, they don't know the first thing about spirituality, because they copied everything that they are now regurgitating back to us from us, and they misinterpreted the vast majority of it. So we're literally believing in their misinterpretations of our ancient African consciousness without us even realizing it, because they force feed us deceitfulness, because in order to maintain racism, white supremacy, you have to have deceitfulness.
Hey, Timothy, was it John Henry Clark that said what he said again? You imitating your imitator.
Right. Right.
That's
Right.
so
And
dope.
there's an excerpt from the Destruction of Black Civilization by Chancellor Williams that talks about how so much that was once black is now white. So yeah, that's facts.
How
We
come? How come? The old Egyptian language died out, but like they know Latin and stuff like that. I don't know. Was it like destroyed? Was it destroyed, or was it like forgotten? I don't know.
was
Like
destroyed because white people touched it. As soon as white people touch Egypt, it became Egypt. I mean, the name is in Greek, so you
like the
think the
conquest of
language doesn't survive when white people touch your shores? Like, well, as soon as white people are in your community, the culture dies. The culture is gonna fade away because whiteness requires assimilation in ways that black people cannot comprehend. Like,
Oh,
we're
wait. I know what you mean. Like for example, I played the game,
You,
like let's
you,
say like,
you,
but
you know
instead
what,
of using
Alliance?
fake and stuff like that, but
As soon
let me
as
say it.
wait, hold on,
Like
Scrappy. Go
for
ahead.
example, I played the game like Asian, Egyptian, like Assassin's Creed, stuff like that. And within the game, they showed us that the black people, the Africans within Egypt, when they were like conquered, they were all like taking the names of Romans instead of
Yeah,
they're abandoning it.
yeah,
And I was like,
Ptolemy.
it got me thinking, like, I thought this game was supposed to be fake, but it kind of true. Like, that's a certain way for a language to die out, because you want to abandon. They saw the Roman language as a higher civilization than themselves. Like, that's what I got from that game. Like, and that
Yeah.
for that reason, like they left it and stuff like that. Like it got forgotten, because if you don't value something, after some time it will die out.
I want to read this excerpt from Dr. Chancellor Williams, The Destruction of Black Civilization. He says, Negro heads of important institutions and organizations represent the white man's indirect rule over the black community. It is the voice of these leaders that is accepted as the voice of the race. They do indeed have a great following, drawn almost entirely from the traditional black elite. I'm going to say black elite instead of saying need to grow over and over again. So basically, he's talking about the black elite and how their voice is considered the voice of the race. Even Amber Rose, when she went to the RNC, she's considered the voice of the race. She's part of the black elite or upper middle class. But he lists them as lawyers, government officials, doctors, professors, school administrators, scientists, engineers, heads of integrationist organizations, etc. They are essentially anti-black, anti-African, and therefore anti-black studies. And this is a black studies book, which is why he's talking about why we don't know our own history. He says, hence their frantic drive for integration, which in this term, in this conversation, we can refer to it as assimilation, right? Because whiteness requires assimilation. So hence their frantic drive for integration, which of course will effectively check the alarming development of pride in race. So basically, we have too much racial pride. So in order to balance some of that out and assimilate us back into whiteness, they've created things like interracial marriage. You see a lot of that on TV. It's kind of just to keep y'all from being too proud of being black and to start seeing yourselves more as just human beings that can be with your oppressor and, you know, get along. He also says, so it's used to check the alarming development of pride and race, a sense of cultural identity with one's own bloodline. So us having a sense of cultural identity with our own people is also seen as a threat to assimilation and integration, and a growing knowledge of being members of a race with a record of achievements unsurpassed by any other people, despite the conversion of so much that was black to white. So we have achieved things greater than any other people of any other race. And they don't want us to know that, which is why, books like The Destruction of Black Civilization is important. So, yeah.
Wow. I'm gonna buy that book and definitely read it.
Oh, that book's going to change your world, man. Hell yeah. You need to, every black person should have The Destruction of Black Civilization in their house. And every black single man, when you talk to a sister, you need to either find you one that knows what that book is, knows who that brother, Dr. Chancellor Williams, is, or is willing to learn it. I'll give y'all that.
Life, the guy who wrote it.
Dr. Chancellor, Chancellor, Chancellor Williams, Williams. The book is The Destruction of Black Civilization. That is the most important. That's like the beginner book. That's a brief, just like, here's where we're gonna start to know ourselves. You know, just that's the beginning. You want to start there.
I'm gonna definitely do that.
Absolutely. And if you want to get to the advanced, then you get to shake and to jump. And boy, that's when it gets wicked, because then you start talking about the Abrahamic religions. Oh my goodness. Because he doesn't look at the Abrahamic texts. He's not looking at the Quran or the Bible or the Torah or anything like that. He looks at the geopolitical news and literature that was around the time of Moses in order to give you a history from the African perspective of what was going on around that time, according to other texts. So it gives you, like, everyone is biased, right? So even Moses, who quote unquote wrote the first 5 books of the Bible, was biased. And, you can't just watch CNN from Moses' day. You got to watch CNN, Fox News, BBC, and, kind of
question everything.
Yeah, so you can get a full understanding. So he talks about what the Africans were doing at that time and why Moses might have wrote this and left this part out. He talks about it.
I don't think I agree with you.
All right. I haven't said anything but books, so I haven't said anything to disagree with. You might not want to read a book, but it's okay.
No,
Give us
I
your
read
age,
plenty
race,
of
and
books.
pronouns.
But
you haven't disagreed with me. I haven't
I'm
said
black,
anything.
I'm 28, and my pronouns are she, her.
Okay.
Theology and everything has always been something that is central to a general area, right? Except for the fact that travel has happened. We travel to different places and learn different things. And the fact that you want to then say, hey, this isn't from somewhere, like, for instance, like Greece got most of their Grecian gods and goddesses and deities and stuff from African culture.
Really?
I mean, look at the similarities, but look what's older.
Okay.
Why are you looking very sarcastic? Sorry,
No.
I've only been on this.
Teach us more. Teach us more.
We just listening to you for at this point. Keep on going. We all ask.
Okay. Yeah. Teach us.
Nah, wait. I want to put a little bit context here because I usually get booted, I guess. So it usually takes like 30, 40 minutes for me to actually get on here. And I don't know what the context is.
You sound like you're asking for the pan for pause, man.
Say that again?
Don't say nothing. What's his face? Scrappy. Go ahead and teach us. You ain't said nothing wrong yet.
Well, I think that we need to realize that shared cultures are shared cultures. And some cultures are taken. I understand that. But shared cultures are shared cultures, meaning that this culture goes into another culture. We are, as people, just people. Our deities or our gods or whatever, they are what they are. And when we look at shared cultures, we have to understand that the sharing is mixing. It's not something that we can then say is what the original content was. And it doesn't mean that the things that they learned from each culture is not true. It's just that there was mixings of cultures.
So you say that the Egyptians shared culture with the Greeks?
100%, yes.
And where did that land the Egyptians?
Honestly, just because of things like conquering wars and conquering governments and stuff, nowhere, but where they could have been is a very different story.
Could have been, would have been, should have been. These are un-African terms, by the way. I don't know how many of y'all seen Amistad. Remember that
Why
line?
is potential not African? Everyone has potential.
Because you don't understand Bantu time. It's okay. It's not African. So Africans don't believe in a possible reality. They only believe in the immediate future and the present. They don't believe in like it could have been, should have been. And so in the movie Amistad, he was asking, what was his name? Give us free. What was his name? Sinke is give us free. And he's like,
There's no word to
after
translate for. Sorry,
remember he was like, are we going to if we go to the trial, are we going to be free? And he's like, well, you could be. He's like, we don't do could, we don't do should. Are we free or not? Like that's African. Like Europeans created this woulda, coulda, shoulda, and their perception of time. Please stop it. Please let me talk. I let you talk, right? You remember I was quiet? So the Europeans believe in their idea of the future and the past because they've created a system where they can rent people for a time. So they've monopolized and monetized time. So they've had to put it in certain blocks. And, if you're late for work, then you are late. However, in African Bantu time, you are on time all the time. Just things might have started happening before you got there, but you getting there is when things started happening. I don't know how else to explain this. I could go into a brief incident that happened between the president of, one of the chiefs of Ghana and the UN. But I'll get into that another time. But yeah.
Real quick, she said that she don't agree with you, and I've been listening, but I still haven't quite figure out what did he say that you don't agree with. Could you be specific to that part? What did he say, or it could be something on the board. Can you just go straight to the point?
Are you done? Sorry, I'm not trying to be like rude or anything. I really just wanted to know, are you done?
I said yes twice.
Oh, no. I really wasn't trying to be rude. I'm very sorry about that. But I think this idea, well, I came off of another debate, so I'm so sorry if I mix these up. But there was this sentiment, I guess it's not necessarily a thing that anybody said, a sentiment of there needs to be, I guess, a non-unification, not even a separation of the way we look at really who we are as people.
Why do you think that?
That's the thing. I don't know why I can explain it. It just...
Okay, so on this live, whenever someone says something, like they make a suggestion on how we should go about liberation or how we should move forward as a people, and when I ask them why, and they say, I don't know, I take that as because I said so. So you have to let us know your reasoning, please.
Well, when it comes to something like that, I can give a good reasoning.
I don't mean
Right how I
anecdotes.
sound right now. Sorry.
Yeah, please give us your logic behind thinking that we should divide.
Well, we shouldn't divide because then we as people are unified in some sense or another. We shouldn't divide because we as a people, like, for instance, if you're going poor versus rich, if you're then going to divide poor, then you're going to have...
Hold on. You're saying we as a people, as in all human beings across the planet. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay, so you're speaking more into... Oh, my bad, brother. Go ahead.
I thank you for the clarification. I didn't know we needed it, but so you're talking about we as the people, as the entire planet. You consider black people in the context of humanity. You feel the people of the world consider black people to be human,
no,
to be people.
Not at all.
Okay, so when you say we the people, do you mean non-black people, or do you mean?
I mean the people that choose to then understand that we came from a place of unity, or even suppression or expression in different ways, but still can have things that we then can have in common. We cannot look at one people as a monolith. Monoliths are the things that create things like prejudice and racism and classism and stuff. We cannot look at anybody in a monolith. And also, we have procreated with different cultures. To be really real, we have, like, I myself, I'm half black, I'm half Indigenous American. And
there we go. That's why she's so
it's coming out. It's coming out.
What?
I'd like to ask you a question. It's been a while.
How many more we got?
It's been a while. My African senses.
For real, just explain that. What's coming out?
The devil coming out here.
Hold on. Let me say this real quick, Aniel. You said earlier on you're a black woman, right? Are you an honest person? And answer honestly, because I pull libations to my ancestors that they don't play around. So best you be honest. Are you really a black woman or are you a white woman? Like,
what part of me is black though?
I didn't ask
you. And what part of me is white? Because, like, for real, I've always had this thing where people always tell me when I'm successful, I'm black. When I'm not
how many
successful,
parts do you
I'm
even
white.
have in you?
But I'm not white
How
at all.
many parts do you have in you? I didn't ask you about your parts. I'm talking about, ask you a simple question. Are you black or white?
No part of me is white. I don't know what you're talking about.
You just said...
You know exactly what I'm talking about. Why y'all always
She gonna say she mixed. She said she half and half, like a cup of coffee.
I said half Yupik, like
she half
American Indigenous.
She half coffee, half milk.
Pause.
I'm sorry, is Native American or Indigenous Alaskan white now?
Damon Dash, pause.
So that's 4. We need one
more.
Yo, man. There's a lot to unpack here, man. It all the anti-blackness always follows behind anybody that says that black people share culture when our culture has been stolen. Especially the thing about
Wait, I
Egypt
did
is
not say anything like that. I said that there's been stolen culture. I said that there's shared culture, and I said that there was overtaken culture. But
when
no,
when
now
has
all y'all
anyone
like
shared who has shared culture in the thousands of years of African people being like black and African and being from the continent that we now call Africa?
hip hop culture.
So if hip hop culture was shared with us.
No, I'm saying that
Okay, so
people shared
what?
it
So when
throughout
we
the entire
share
world.
things, right? When we share things, right?
But
That
does that
means
mean that it's the
that
whole
means
culture?
that that means that there's
Absolutely
an
not.
exchange. It means there's a cultural exchange. That either means there was consent given at some point, or there was an exchange at some point. So my question, she's gone. My question would have been, when has anyone shared culture with black people, including the Greeks that colonized Egypt? When did they share culture with the Africans? That never happened. We have shared culture, but then by the time she gets to hip hop, we have had culture stolen. Okay, we have had, by the time we get to hip hop, culture was stolen. The first number one single in hip hop was Ice Ice Baby by Vanilla Ice. The second one was a song by Mark Wahlberg. The second hit in hip hop culture ever, the second number one hit in hip hop culture was by another white man. So culture was stolen. Anyway, thank you for the Panther
Hey,
pause.
the more and more I hear people talking like this, talking about like parts of them are white and other parts of them is black. It feel like sometime in the near future we're gonna see people coming out like their whole left side is like white, the right side is black.
Right?
And they're gonna tell you I'm mixed.
I'm still waiting for the memes where you're going to see people that are. I'm still waiting for the black
My
biracial
leg,
meme where they're going to have like one side of them painted white and the other side. Like, listen,
bro,
I could be
literally,
doing it
bro.
the same.
That's what I'm thinking about. For real, that's how they sound like though. You know what? She was being disingenuous. Let's just be honest. We all know that's a whole whitey person trying to come in here acting like they black. Cause that's what she said the first time. I'm a black woman. Then it became I'm mixed, and then it became parts of me. Like we're not talking about your parts, lady.
Mm-hmm.
This issue is that there's no logical explanation that she was even able to give about keeping us separated. Like, she came in stating that separation and us not being unified as black African people is the hill that we all need to climb up, but or down. Technically, it's
Mm-hmm.
really no foundation. Yeah. So, but when asked for her to give a logical reason as to why, there was no reason. That should let us all know right then and there exactly why it is so illogical to think in terms of separation rather than Pan-African unification. Like that, it's illogical for us as African people to think that separating ourselves all the time is actually going to get us to anywhere other than just
Where
being
we are.
exactly.
We're here now. We don't need to separate no further. Separation is the reason Africa was colonized in the first place. Read the African origin of civilization. Learn about the reason, the weakness of Africans that was exploited. Their strength was diversity, and that diversity led to their downfall. They were living in so much peace with each other. Yes, they had rivalries. However, their rivalries were more about punking the other team. So they would do sacred rituals, put on war paint, do dances, stand in the fire, and do different things to make you afraid and make you feel like, you couldn't come against them. However, when they did take over another region, such as King Adinka falling to the Akan tribe leader, the Akan in Ghana, the people of Ghana that are now Akan were once a different ethnicity, and they were absorbed into the greater Akan culture. And when they did that, the Akan people still to this day use the Adinkra symbols. Why? Because they kept the culture of the people that they won the war against intact. They didn't feel like they had to destroy their history, destroy their culture, change their language, and make them forget who they are, and enslave them, on a race-based system. Like, Africans didn't do all of this. Africans didn't do all of this. So we need to look at the reason we're here in the first place. That is because of division. And now we're still saying, I'm different because I'm an African American. I'm not the same as you Jamaicans. I'm foundational Black American. I'm not like the rest of you Africans. That is the same thinking that got us enslaved in the first place. Like, when are Black people going to wake the hell up? Because white people will commit atrocities against other white people, but they will come together like Voltron against your Black ass. And Black people just cannot figure that part out. We can't figure out how to Voltron up. I'm tired
Also,
of it.
I want to continue what you were saying, in most of Africa, like most of the governments, you don't get to like choose what you teach your students or children. All of it is like by design. So a lot of people in Africa, they're not aware of the struggle. So like people who are educated, aware of certain things, as you are saying,
Yeah.
So so that's what I'm like. That's something like we have to change. Like, we have to tell our own stories, not like what somebody else told us. What was our past, stuff like that.
Yes.
You have to because I kind of noticed a lot, we as African people, we need to tell our own history. We have to teach it. Because most of my own country, they don't believe in that stuff. They will tell you, even the ones that are educated. I grew up in Somalia. People telling me my father, for example, telling me hey, I wish I was Arab, because I would be closer to God and stuff like that. His dream is he was kind of he hated himself some way. I kind of noticed that because if to him in his religious mind, it was to be a part of the culture of Islam is the best way possible is being born in them, being look like them, stuff like that.
Wow.
Yeah. So
wow.
It's
That's
one
deep.
of the reasons. It's one of the reasons, I questioned everything, I didn't want to join that self-hate, he hated everything within Somali culture,
Wow.
He hated our own language. I remember our last dictator, the one that, before he did pew pew people, they wanted to change the Somali language to Arabic. He was trying to because their argument was if we're real Muslims and stuff like that, the best way to join the culture is by adopting that language. And he pew them all, he was like, hey, we're not gonna do that, stuff like that. So that's what I want to tell you, stuff like that.
In order to get the Romans off their backs, the Africans turned to the Arabs, and they've been there ever since. They've been colonizing, our people ever since. We do also recognize the nuance in how Islam was introduced to West Africans versus East Africans. East African stories way darker.
Yeah, Somali people did some effed up shit to the native Africans. We have super racist words to Bantu, Ubuntu, and stuff like that. I didn't know that, because growing up, I used to see a lot of hate. I was like, why are we hating on these people? They look like us. But I didn't think before that, our ancestors, they did that for a way to, to be accepted into the culture of Islam.
The same thing happened here in America with the Irish people. My great-great-grandmother on my father's side, so not my maternal line, thank God, but my great-great-grandmother on my father's side is an Irish woman. Believe it or not. Yes, Brother Legend has a drop of milk in his glass. and many African Americans do. But this was at a time when Irish wasn't considered white. At this time, Irish wasn't considered white, and they were also somewhat oppressed. And I don't know what the hell my great grandfather was doing bunny chasing in the 1900s. Like this was like the late 1800s. He was bunny chasing, but either way, reason I bring that up is because at that time, even people that we consider white today were not white back then. And in order to assimilate into whiteness, they became the purveyors of anti-black racism in their own communities to show the white people in power that they were down with the system. Like, yes, you know, yeah. So
that's like Somalia. I mean, like, because there was a lot of people that were trying to raise the Somali culture. You know, like, because for example, my father hated like Somali music and stuff like that. He hated, but he loved Arabic music. I was like, what?
Yeah. Wow.
Like, the reason was because it felt like to him like it was a way to be closer to God, or to he idolized them, like he loves them. He told me his dream was to, you know, like live in there, like to do like a religious stuff like there, you know, like to be there. And he hated being, you know, like not like learning the Quran and stuff like that, you know. But you know, the funny thing is, a lot of people in Somalia, they don't know the language. They know, you know, in Islam you have to you know, like understand the content of the Quran. A lot of people in Somalia do not. It's just like you know, like the Europeans were to the Christianity early times. It was, you know, like taught in like Latin, stuff like that, and the masses, they just follow the religious leader, stuff like that. It's the same thing in Somalia, you know, like a lot of the sheikhs and the priests, stuff like that, they are like preaching stuff that is not in the Quran. Remember, and I was taught in Islam, like, you are allowed to lie if you bring in more followers. It's for the good. A lot of people don't know that. I know, like, they don't question everything. So a lot of people, they learn it by heart, but they don't understand it. Like, people memorize it from every detail. Like, they know it by heart just by sleeping. And somebody wakes them up, they know every content. But they don't.
Yeah, bro.
They don't understand
It's all
that.
about.
y'all,
It's all
we
about.
got two more people up here, Scrappy.
That's what I was about to say. You know, like, we could move on to the new people right now, but give thanks, Alliance, for being honest about that part.
Yeah, that's I want to know more about Somali people and their treatment from Arab people. So I appreciate you sharing that and teaching that to us. Brother Poetic Logic, what's going on, family?
Hey, how's it going? Nashe.
Peace, Ashe.
So in reference to the topic, you know, there has never been benefit from Black people sharing their culture with white people. There's never been any benefit. Exclusively, the only benefit, or the only party who actually benefits from any culture is white people. White people, they have, and it's not even actually shared, it's stolen. Let's just be real on that. It's stolen culture, it's stolen customs, it's repackaged, and then, you know, it's given back, you know, to us, and then and it's, you know, this new phenomenon, which I've never really understood, but I'm still kind of learning the history. I'm still kind of shuffling through as far as understanding, you know, many things in which that we originally had on the continent. So I'm still learning that information. But there is no benefit, you know, from white people and Black people sharing culture. The only thing in which that white people can actually, you know, give Black people is more barbarism, savagery, hate, destruction, corruption, and damage to the environment. I mean, those are concepts in which that you know, they're not native to Africans. They knew how to you know, be in line with the environment and take care of the world as we know. You know, they've managed to do that for thousands of years. So, Yeah. Now, are marriages between black and white people ethical? Absolutely not. I mean, it breeds more confusion. I mean, I was hearing the young lady up there, and it really got crazy. So
yeah,
and you know, and this is why, like, I feel a lot. You know, when it comes to a young man, this is why you got to be intentional with what you do and who you date, because later on down the line, when you have those children, if they don't have any idea of who they are as a person, then you're just setting them up for failure. You're creating a vicious cycle that'll further allow for white people to further subjugate us, and you know, and just further taking power away from our community, because they're going to be getting that privilege, the so-called privilege, in which they might think that, oh, hey, everything's good, love is love, you know, it's all of us in the world, we're all holding hands, but in actuality, it's just playing into that same system, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, we've seen it. We've seen it in real time. If you look at Michael Jackson's family, that's the wickedest thing ever, man. I don't know what happened with Prince, but they was playing his song at the DNC, and I know they was having a battle over his estate. Prince was not someone that believed in the Democratic Party. He didn't even like the two-party system. He said it was the lesser of two. He didn't say the lesser of two evils. He said something else. He said something better. I don't want to misquote Prince, man, but they shouldn't have been playing his song. John Legend is a damn traitor. So is Common, man. Common be cooning. But it is what it is. Nah, that's facts. We've seen the distribution of wealth back into white hands whenever there's been an interracial marriage, and that was the purpose of interracial marriage. Interracial marriage wasn't introduced to the black community. Yes, I said introduced because the black community did not decide to allow it to happen. We didn't march for it. It was introduced to the black community during the time when the black middle class had started to grow. And it looked like, you know, at that time, black men and black women were the highest married people in America. We were more married to each other than even white people, right? So 85% of us were married to another black person. And then add on top of that during this time in America, the black middle class had started to really come up. So we had started to obtain wealth in our community. And so that's when white society said, you know what? We got to marry some of them. Whoa. What's happening right now? So that's when the elites in our community, after the Loving versus Virginia, where the black woman in that case was actually richer than the white man who worked for her family that wanted to marry her, in Loving versus Virginia, after that was passed, then all of a sudden we get the wealthiest, richest, well-to-do black men getting with white women, and that money just being drained from our community. Anything your oppressors give you is not going to be for your liberation. Next guest, Jay, give us your age, race, and pronouns.
Yeah, I'm 25. My name is Jay. I'm he, him, and I'm biracial.
All right.
How you fellas doing today?
Doing all right.
I really thought this topic was...
No. Yeah,
you can't come up here. All right. We're going to go to the next guest, y'all. Keep tapping like, yo, we've been up here for a minute. But keep tapping like, we're trying to get to 75K. Jay, you have to send a galaxy if you want to come back up because you don't know your race. We can't have people up here that don't know their race. If you come up and you want to talk about topics relating to race, you got to tell us what your race is. Your race is not mixed. That's not how that works. All right, billionaires, give us your age, race, and pronouns.
34. My race is black.
All right, talk to us.
Yeah, so just answering some of the questions presented to the panel there, or the topic. Can it be beneficial? Can we benefit from sharing culture? I would say no, because the relationship is exploitation and exploiter. The largest cultural export in the United States is Black culture. That's why you have K-pop in Korea. That's why you have hip hop, and the way people dress all over the world is because of that cultural export, which is Black/African culture. Are marriages between them and us ethical? I would say no. Your Black psychology is not prepared or able to withstand being in a union such as that, because your relationship with them for so long has been of a slave. Psychologically, that can only harm you.
Damn.
It can only you cannot benefit. It will weaken you and separate you from yourself, from your African self.
Damn.
With the race is a binary with Black at the bottom and YT at the top. Until that binary is deconstructed and tossed away and we all become beings, I don't believe any person classified as non-white should be with someone classified as YT. It's just not something that's psychologically healthy for you. So that's my statement.
Hey man, he ain't come to play, man. Hey yo, you cheated. You read Neely Fuller's book.
I'm very familiar with Neely Fuller.
Yeah, stop playing with me.
Very familiar, but I've read Afro pessimism, and
Okay.
the thing that upsets me about Afro pessimism is Frank Wilderson actually ended up with one of them folks. And I find that a lot of yeah.
No.
His current wife is one of them folks, and it's kind of disappointed me. I find with a lot of Black people who have that pessimistic thought, just understand racism, but you just go with the flow, and it kind of sucks. You got to be optimistic.
Damn. Well, you learn something new every day. Every time I look up an author, man, I gotta look up their damn wife or husband or whatever, man, because this is depressing to find this out. But yeah, no, I mean, well, thank you for that breakdown, because you broke it down. You broke down something I haven't broke down. I'm gonna just mute you, brother, because you got an echo.
No problem.
Hold on. Yeah, he broke something down. You know, as much as we talk about Neely Fuller, he broke something down that I have even struggled to like relay to y'all. And he broke it down so eloquently, man. Just, you know, talking about how our psychology, because of the preconditioning of looking at white people as superior or as a master, as he said, our psychology is not equipped to be able to be in a relationship with them because of the indoctrination in you know, the influence in 10 areas of people activity. And that's another thing, billionaires, that I've done on this live. I've asked white people. I've said, and you know, Dr. Neely Fuller Jr. says we should be asking them questions. So I asked them, and I say, do you believe racism, I'm just going to paraphrase, but do you believe racism adversely influences economics for Black people? And they'll say, yes, absolutely. I'll say education. They'll say, yeah. Say entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion. They'll say yes all the way through. Then I'll skip the 8th one and I'll say war. They'll say, yep. I'll say health. They'll say, yep. I said, now what about, and I you know, he says sex, but I say love on here just because, you know, on TikTok. But I'll be like, love. What about love? And they will say yes. Yes, racism exists in all 9 areas leading up to the, you know, I even put Francis Cress Welson's 10th area in there. But when I get to love, for some reason, no, there's no racism. We're all equal. Love is love. And, you know, it's hilarious to watch that happen, man. But yeah.
That's true. That's funny. That's the one thing they don't want to let go, because that's a part of YT freedom. Is that love making thing they got going. So yeah, brother. I just want to say I appreciate you for letting me on, man. I got to
Yes,
get on
sir.
about my night. But thank you. I follow your channel. You one of the realest on here, bro.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you for coming up and imparting that wisdom, man. All right, Ashe. We'll go to the next guest. I'm going to just bring some people up here. Don't forget to keep tapping like, man. I love it when a learned brother comes up here, man. I love it when when a sister that's been reading come up here, especially. My, oh my. Nothing is more beautiful than a black woman that is black intentionally inside and out. Oh my goodness. Y'all be so damn fine mentally. Y'all be so mentally prepared. I love that for you. All right, I'm going to go to the next guest. Tide of Natura. Give us your age, race, and pronouns, please.
I am a male. I'm 28 years old, and I'll say this, and bear with me for a second. I don't like calling myself black. I have two quote unquote black parents, but in my eyes, from what I see, black has a negative connotation to it. So, we've been given preconceived notions from them. We've been victimized by them. We've been, our history. All of us have this innate sense of anger and angst and hatred towards quote unquote white people, whitey. I don't even like that. I don't like calling white people white. I don't like calling black people black. These are constructs.
Wait, did you tell us your race? You said you black though, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't necessarily like being called black.
What do you prefer?
I'm indigenous. Can we get on that? Can we get on that? Because we really are. And I will say this. A lot of our people, again, we have a preconceived notion about us, and we also don't know where we're from, really. The thing
Pretending alert.
No, stop it, Timothy. Stop, Timothy. Come on. Don't do that.
I'm sorry. Here we go. That's the thing right there. We're all divided, but for what? We're all quote unquote one people, right?
All right. Hold on. Damn it, Timothy. Hold on.
I'm really talking about us.
Tide, listen.
Chill with the games.
You done got him in his bag, Timothy.
No. Look. For real. Chill with the games. Chill with the bull. Because that's what they want us to do. Divide and conquer.
All right.
They don't even have to do anything.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
We understand that. So
can I ask you a question, Tide? Quick?
No, wait. Hold on. I gotta ask the questions. And
I was about to ask you about Orion. Like, where is it located in the hemisphere?
Hey, listen,
Orion?
Family, hold on, family. My
Yeah.
bad. I got us off track.
Is it to the western hemisphere?
Hold up, everybody. Let's put Brother Legend right back on exactly where. Go ahead, brother. My bad. I'm gonna stop.
All right. So, Mr. Tide. Okay. So you say you claim to be indigenous, and I'm not going to judge you for that. Unlike my rude co-host, I'm not going to judge you for that. What I want to ask you next is how is that title an improvement over what we've been calling ourselves up until now? Like how is
let's go off paperwork, right? Let's say U.S. government crap, right? We have not been fully ratified in the 14th Amendment.
Why do I care about the 14th Amendment?
Because this is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with checks and balances, paperwork, right? Documentation. This is what they want on you. They need a paper trail on you. But the thing is, with the Dred Scott case, you can look that up. Look up the Dred Scott case. So, yeah. So, why wouldn't we necessarily, for lack of better words, care about the paperwork behind us, our documentation, our falsified documentation at that? Why wouldn't we care about and ethnicity? I said it in the comments. Where do we come from? Not black land. They say Africa, right? But on paper, we're African American or black. These are names constructed by them. When we know all of this is the same. There is no Africa. There is no, all of this is literally the same. They just split everything up. So when we talk about politics and we talk about religion and race, why does that matter? And also dating outside of our race. Why does all of this matter? Why is this a thing? Why is this being talked about, right? This is the main question. This should be the main question of why are we debating on things that aren't going to make us get anywhere? We're not progressing to anything.
No, I understand. I understand, but you can't say why are we debating when you've made a choice on what route we should take. We need to ask you why you think that is a better route to take.
No. I mean in general. I mean as a people.
No, but you said
you said that
you identify.
I'm saying us, right?
I know, but you said you identify as indigenous, correct?
Yes.
All right.
Because
so now,
why wouldn't we go back?
But
right?
here's, brother, please. So here's the thing. My question back to you was how is describing ourselves or identifying, rather, even more powerful than the description is an identifier. How is identifying ourselves as indigenous going to liberate us?
I'm saying on paper, we have to do that. We have to claim a nationality.
Now, doing things on paper
to correct these things, we have to
play
know
their
where
game?
we have to know who, what, when, where, and why about ourselves.
Orientation,
right? We have
yes.
to become conscious. We have to become conscious. We're not conscious people at all. People can claim to be conscious. People can claim to be aware.
Listen, we're going to give you a moment to preach, but I'm asking you these questions. I just need direct answers because I have more follow-up questions by the time you start preaching. So
I know.
I asked the questions, and I'm doing this for the people that's listening because, believe it or not, you are on a live full of Garveyites. You know what a Garveyite is?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so you here with us. So now we want to know from you why what you're proposing is an improvement, because your reasoning thus far has sounded to me like being called an African or being called black, being called an African or being called black is something that was given to us by our oppressor, correct?
Somewhat, yes.
Okay.
Because I know there's nuance to that.
No, I understand there's nuance to that too.
I know it's something
but
for us
I know
to
what you
identify
mean.
with. I know it's something for us to identify with, but to those
there's
people,
nuance. I know.
But to those people, they need us to do that.
Okay. So, being African American, being African, being black are identities given to us by our oppressor.
Misnomers.
Right. So who gave us indigenous?
The hell, they did too.
Okay, so why is it an improvement?
But
so then why is it an improvement to consider ourselves indigenous?
I just said, I'm gonna say it again, on paper. I'm gonna say this. I am on the spectrum and I have to convey myself in the best way I can. So what I'm saying is, yeah, we're gonna have to play their game, but also play it better than them, because guess what? It's not their game. And I already know the pretendians comment is gonna come up again, but do y'all know anything about the Moors?
So do you think we should identify as Moors?
I'm not saying that.
Okay.
That's optional, but I'm saying we literally have to get right on paper.
Do you know who the Moors were?
And yes.
Do you know who the Moors were before they went to Spain?
They were from Morocco.
Do you know who
and they were under the Caliphate?
You know Septimius, Caesar Septimius? Do you know about the Black Caesar of ancient Rome? Do you know about the original Saint Nick, Santa Claus?
Yes.
The original story of Santa Claus. You know he was a Moor, correct?
I wasn't aware of that.
Wow. The Moors were rich Africans that got rich off the Roman Empire. Mm-hmm. So when we identify ourselves as Moors, we're still also identifying ourselves as Africans in the West in the constructs built by white people. So, I mean, I just want to know, because listen, type of thinker I am, when presented with new evidence, I will change my mind. That's the thing. So far, I have not found a utility in identifying myself as indigenous. I find it just gets in the way of the people white people call indigenous. And, I wouldn't want to do that. But I know that identifying ourselves as African ties us back to the land that we're actually from. And then that way, we can have ties to the resources and economic power of those people once they're liberated from oppression. And then it also...
My bad.
But I'm saying there's utility to being an African in terms of our liberation. There's constructiveness there. I haven't found the constructiveness behind being indigenous or following paperwork where I have to prove to white men what I am through their papers.
I was gonna say, okay, so with that, I'm no dummy. I don't have cognitive dissonance or anything. You taught me something. But I was gonna say, with that kind of thinking, with what they're doing, it sounds, like I said, it sounds good on paper. But in reality, outside of paperwork, outside of documentation, what are we to do as a people? And it starts with the children. I'll say that, because the way we raise children, educate children is completely wrong. Absolutely wrong. There's too much abuse. There's too much, hypocrisy amongst our people. And I feel like this is something where we talk about, that love word. So what's really love? And everybody loves to say, I'm gonna say this, just from my experience, I didn't necessarily have the best experience growing up. I didn't have my father. That's one thing. That's gonna lead to a lot of problems, statistically, as we can see. 2, I didn't have the best mom. So that would lead to me not necessarily being or feeling like I was accepted by my own people. Because I've always been different. So when black families are stuck up under the Bible Belt, I'm from the Bible Belt, and everybody's, people can push gifts at you, people can push money at you, people can say, oh, well, I raised you so I can talk to you any kind of way, I can treat you any kind of way because this is what it is. And imagine that, on, a black child, and I'll say black, to where we already have so much trauma on us. And I don't know if y'all know about intergenerational trauma, dealing with, genetics. So we already have an immense amount of pain amongst each other because our ancestors, they couldn't do anything. They couldn't save each other. So the ones that stayed slaves and didn't get freed, that traveled down to us, and we still see it to this day. And everything is a psychological game to the people who enslaved us. And we have, a predisposition to mental illness and
naturally.
So
naturally, because we have to be mentally ill. We can't live in reality. We can't. I saw a video earlier of a black woman doing a backflip, and she in front of a bunch of white people. She got her wig on, sister's got that Eurocentric texture wig on, and she's trying to do a backflip, and there's a man that's like assisting her while she flips over, like spotting her, you know what I'm saying? And so she tried to do the backflip with this dude spotting her. He spotted her, and they say, oh, wow, you did good. Yeah, you don't need that spotter. You can do it by yourself. She says, okay. And then she tries to do it by herself. Sis lands smack on her forehead, man. She couldn't do it by herself. She smack on her forehead. She got like a red mark on her forehead, and everyone's like, oh, and she gets up and she's like, oh, and then everyone's like, are you okay? Oh yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, I'm fine. Like she don't want to let them know that she's in pain because she's in front of white people. You know what I'm saying? She's code switching. She's using a voice that's comfortable to white people. You know, we have to code switch. In psychology, they call that masking. And masking is unhealthy because it creates a sub self that is not true to our true self. So when you mask and you don't know that you're masking, if you're not aware that you are code switching, you can actually start to internalize the white voice and start to internalize your defense mechanism when you're in front of white people and acting more agreeable around white people and start to internalize as that being your true identity because you've now confused the sub self with the true self, your true ego. And so when I seen that video, I'm like, wow, even when black women are physically in pain in front of white people, you know, with her wig on and with her whitest accent, she has to cover up her bruise and say, oh yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, I'm fine. You know, and it was just like, no, you're not fine. And if you was around black people, you probably would have started crying because we all just seen you bust your ass, you know? So you can't be mentally healthy in an environment where you're being gaslit and where you're forced to have to gaslight other people in order to feel safe.
And can I say this real quick? Just to touch on what the brother was saying about like playing the game better than our adversary. Like when you put all the pieces together, right? And in actuality, what's going on right now, right? And look at history. All people have been persecuted for skin tone, for our skin tone. No matter if you're indigenous to Africa, indigenous to America, ancient Asia, it was for our skin tone, and it's still the same today. If any shit pop off where that same adversary has to do them same shit, they don't care if you call yourself indigenous, Indian, African, Caribbean. Is for that skin tone. Now, I don't know if you know about the AES federation between these three African countries, right?
Mali,
Nigeria,
Niger, and Burkina Faso.
right? So to play the game better than them would be okay. I'm not gonna tell you what you not, right? If you claim to be what you claim to be, I respect that. I claim to be what I claim to be, and we respect that mutually instead of like being opposing forces, right? Unify, like create a federation. You're supposed to be even be interested in what's going on in Africa right now, right? That's a more solid foundation that will provide even security and stability for every dark tone. Because you don't like the word black, you don't identify with it. That's fair enough. We do, right? Whether you call yourself carbonated, melanated, we all know which people we talking about. Let me stop playing these semantic word games and just causing more confusion in our minds, right? Think of it, bro. If every melanated person all around the world, right, just support what's going on right now, because the AES Federation, what they're looking to do is to create like uh attract more African countries to join the federation, because the federation already started. And you know what's a federation, right? It's going to be just like the BRICS, more and more, as long as they keep it tight, keep it firm and solid, they're going to gain more notoriety, more presence, you feel, more respect, and they're going to attract more and more African countries and create a United States of Africa. And by that time, when that happens, white people will think a million times before they ever touch a strand of hair on any dark stone people, no matter where they are on this planet, 'cause by that time Africa still will be in possession of all the natural resources. You know, if you this black people or carbonated people or melanated people, you will not get no diamond, no gold, no nothing. You feel me? It's our turn to be in control at that round table. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, those are words of wisdom.
Well, man, we appreciate you coming up on the live, brother. I want to go to the next guest. We got some new people up here. And big up to, all the proud African black people, But this is not the live to be arguing with people about what they claim they want to be. You know what I'm saying? This is a live where we, like Brother Scrappy just said, we're more focused on liberation and building with our people. OIZ3S, give us your age, race, and pronouns, please.
I am black. I am 18 years old, and I am a she, her.
All right, talk to us.
For the first one, I wanted to say that I do not think we should share our culture to people that do not have culture. They do not have a history behind the different things that we have, So I do not think we should share it to them at all. And for marriages between the two races, I do not think we should be getting together, because if you actually think about it, that's just being a slave again. Like, that's kind of what that is. Like, you're going with our ancestors already went through all of that. If you learn about all the true history of what they did to our ancestors, and then you want to get with one, it's still here. Slavery wasn't so, it wasn't slavery didn't end too long ago, and it's still things like that is still happening now, and it's still here now. And those people do not like us. I do not get it why people do that.
Okay, sister. Hey, man, I'm not old enough to be your father, but I hope I have a daughter like you. I heard that. Absolutely. Well, best of
Young
luck.
liberated minds.
You know what I'm saying? It warms my
So you-
heart. It warms my heart, man.
So you're
Don't-
saying if a person who's black marries a white woman, it's kind of like selling yourself. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It really is. Like the
Because you,
mentality, the mental, everything changed. I be watching the videos of how people that is with white people, how their mentality changes, and they forget who they are. Like their whole style change, how they talk change, everything changes about them. How they keep their hair, all of that changes.
and you leave the
And
cost
then
of African
if you
liberation.
and then when you get together and have children, and then those children gonna be like, oh, because their mom is white, or they're gonna think that, mostly when there is children that's mixed, they really don't go with a black significant other after that. So the races get mixed again, and then that's just gone. Your line is gone. Once it's 2 times, your line, that means your children after that are just gonna be white, unless your child go with another black person again, like the child after that, grandchild, great grand,
Absolutely. Well,
And to that man about saying what is love, love is emotional and physical. It's all to be one, and that's what love is. And since black people have such a deep connection because of the things we went to together for many, many years, that's why I really think we should be together, because we have that. We share that,
absolutely.
That's beautiful.
And that's why.
Absolutely. We the
Even
ones
though
that
you
believe
didn't
in love.
really have a household that way, you shouldn't bring that into your relationship.
We the ones that believe in love.
Mm-hmm.
They don't believe in love. That's why their
Thank you.
divorce
That's
rate's
what
always been so high.
my father told me that. My father told me that white people are so used to not knowing love from their parents that they're numb to it that much, and that's why they like come online and be like, oh my gosh, when black women say this to me, I feel so loved. It's because they did not have that in their household. Our
And,
our
and can I
people
say this to
love too
you?
deep. Our people love a lot.
Yeah, that
We love
like we
deep.
love them so much.
We
It's just like you have like you love all them white cartoons, and you feel me, that's something that they don't have. But
mm-hmm.
when
We
you
Like
go and
love
start
deep.
posting some black cartoons on your profile,
Well, you talking about her profile? Man,
yeah,
Scrappy, why you
I don't care. I love
she
those
doing the best
cartoons. I
she
don't care.
can up here. Nah, yeah, nah, that's real. Black people believe in things in their purest form. Europeans believe in things like love only to subjugate. So they call it love between men and women in their community, but we know it to be patriarchy and misogyny. They call it love when they talk about their love of God, yet they do nothing that God told them they should be doing.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Man, like I have been noticed that so much. I've like I've noticed that too. That's true. They do not like I watch like my father, I was talking to him about like back in the old days. You're trying to bring that back. I don't know why. I wouldn't want to bring none of that back. But there used to be like old newspapers with abuse with their women. Just saying. Can I say that?
Yeah, you said it now, but you talking about ABUs, their
Yeah.
women? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that, and he told me that that was just the them doing that. That really wasn't us doing that much
until
because
we got
we had
until
yeah, because we had love for our women. We really wasn't
right,
separated like how they started doing they saw
right.
that we had all of that, and then they started separating us from our households, and
Yep.
then all of this happened.
Exactly. So now we're cursed with their brain. Their mental
Mm-hmm.
illness has been implanted into our psyche. So now we will, and all sisters need to, make sure to defend themselves even from black men, because we live in a world where black women are not protected. Whenever
Mm-hmm.
men and women live together in any civilization throughout history, in any society, there has always needed to be a system to protect the women, because
Mm-hmm.
men, if with no accountability, equals women being, imposed upon, if you know what I mean. So there's always been a system to protect women in Africa. African societies were built on two things: honor and obligation. So the reason you didn't see too much misogyny and patriarchy being weaponized in African societies was because we felt that we had to do things honorable, and it was never honorable to assault a woman. And we also had an obligation to protect the tribe. So if the woman was part of the tribe, then we had an obligation now to protect her. And so even if we did want to act dishonorably, then we would have another brother whose obligation would be to whoop our ass. So we made sure that we stayed on code. And then you got the Europeans who, their women, when they were pregnant in them snow-capped, snowy-ass mountains, their women couldn't leave the house because, they got, when they pregnant and they got an open wound, because of the whole birthing process, all that, they stay in their asses in the house. The man would go out and unalive things to eat because they couldn't plant nothing in the wintertime. So we didn't have them problems. Whenever a woman would even bleed on the moon, we would use that as a sacred time, and the man and woman would both take off from work, and spend that sacred time together. So what I'm trying to say is, in our societies, it was even written into law that we should respect women under threat of punishment of the law and the government. And we wrote that way before white men wrote the 12th Amendment, which I forgot which amendment gave women rights. But white people were really late on that one, like almost a millennium late behind us. It's like the 1930s, 1920s.
Yeah, bro. What they were doing in the 1930s, ancient African women were able to do thousands of years before.
Oh yeah. We had women. We worship women as gods. They name a European that not only like they had Diana, they had Medusa, they had certain Venus, they had goddesses, but we worshipped our women as God, like not goddess next to her God, and then there's the goddesses. Like no, we had the all powerful, benevolent Hathor and Mut, and you know what I'm saying, the birther of the universe, the you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, the woman is the opening to the
right, the
to
black
the
woman.
Yeah, to the spiritual side when they have children and things.
Yeah.
That's what that is. So, and then like I have like a video posted. Well, it's not really a video, but I have something posted that is just for that. And every chat that I went to today, I've been saying it in it, like, because people have been just talking about this. So I'm gonna say it again. And it says, I had a conversation with my father again, and about the role of women, and asked him, are we just tools? And he told me women are gifts, not tools. According to him, Eve was given to Adam as a gift because he was lonely. Men are meant to earn a woman's love, care, and beauty, and should not mistreat them. Both men and women are meant to be as one, with men protecting and caring for women as they are physically stronger, and women providing emotional support and care as they are mentally stronger. We are supposed to help each other grow out of those differences. However, there seems to be a lack of communications between both groups, leading to separation. It's important for both men and women to treat each other right, heal from old relationships and old trauma, and love and respect themselves. Remember, respect goes both ways. And I really think communication is key too. In this community, we haven't really been facing that and actually talking about it. We just been placing blame when we should be trying to fix the things that's actually going on, when we haven't been doing that. And I really do. And that's another thing. I really just think that's what love is, to be one. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really.
What we call that in Africa is Ubuntu, which means I am who I am because of who we all are. There was always,
go.
Well, I'm saying there's always in African the idea of love through the broader, generalization of different cultures. There's thousands of them in Africa, but a common theme in almost all of them is a communal aspect to love and a unification, kind of built into the idea of love. Only Europeans think in terms of romance and romanticism, where how I feel personally is what love is. And screw Romeo and Juliet, for example, them two coming together would destroy their whole family. If you watch to the end, they all unalive, but it didn't matter because those two individuals, selfish as it may be, were in love and didn't care about what was going to happen around them, didn't care about anything else. And that is Europeans, individualism. I wanted to read the Kurakan Fuga of the Mali Empire in West Africa, which is now the Sahel region.
Yes.
We talked about Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso. The Kurakan Fuga was signed in 1235. Okay, so take that, forefathers of America, 1776. We wrote this in 1235. And article number, I'm going to read it to y'all. Article number 11 says, when your wife or child runs away, this is a constitution, y'all. This is an African constitution. You know how they like to try to say that white people invented the Constitution. No, they didn't. They copied it from us. All right. So the Kurakan Fuga says, when your wife or your child runs away, stop running after them in the neighbor's house. I just think that's interesting because it's like, it kind of speaks to stop running after them. If the woman wants to walk away, let them go. Then it says, never, article number 14 says, never offend women, our mothers. So it says, never offend women. Can you imagine if the U.S. Constitution said that? Can you imagine? Y'all wouldn't be fighting for reproduction rights if it was illegal to even offend a woman. Could you imagine that? All right. Then next it says, hold on. Where was I? We was at 14. It says women apart. This number 16 right here. Women, apart from their everyday occupations, should be associated with all our managements. So when they're talking about creating institutions, it says women should be associated with all leadership. And this is the Kurakan Fuga of 1235, like I said. So don't ever play with black people when it comes to misogyny and all that other stuff. That is something that was introduced to us by a colonizer. We were a society that had balance between the men and the women.
Yeah, that's what my father was literally just told me that today when I read him the same thing that I read you guys. He told me that in a household, if you have two parents, and the man would be the head of the house, but the woman would still be there to take care of the house and take care of the money, take care of all of those things. Because the man is just the head. Like I just said, they're the protector, they're there to care for you, while the woman are mentally stronger, so they're
Now that depends on what village you're talking about, because in the Akan people, the women are the head. If you want to talk about Yoruba culture, then yes, the men are the head. If you want to talk about Igbo, yeah, the men are the head. So that also varies. But sounds like your father's got a good head on his shoulders, man. Good, big up the pops, man. Alliance, were you gonna say something?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I think it's. Did y'all catch the name of the Constitution? I put it in the comments. It's called the Kurakan Fuga. Now there is part of the Kurakan Fuga which, if you look at this through a feminist Eurocentric perspective, it's going to throw you off. And I'll read that part too, just so I give full disclosure here. Under the part where it says never offend women, our mothers, it also says never beat a married woman before her husband has tried to correct the problem. Now that is something that we look at today and it's like, whoa. It should have just said never beat women, period. Okay. It should have just said that, period. But we have to remember that there was a time where there were no laws against this at all. So during this time, and if you understand this period in African history, then we have to understand that them even including this as a part of their constitution was revolutionary at that time, when a woman could have been ABU'd and there was no law to protect her. So this was, even though it wasn't fully eradicating the touching of women, that is not something that was a common occurrence, but it was common enough for them to put it into law and actually make a law where it had parameters. And at the time, that was revolutionary. So there's that too. But
And
that's
also,
where, yeah.
do we think that the introduction of more violence towards, our African sisters came more so during time periods where the northern hemisphere of Africa was being Islamified? Like, I'm trying to remember. I know that Dr. John Henry Clarke mentioned that there were certain concepts that, like, our African ancestors were Islamifying Western parts of Africa through themselves, but they knew which concepts never to touch.
Right.
Obviously, the power of the black woman, that was a concept you just don't mess with.
Right.
But on the more so Eastern side, that was being more so Islamified by Arabs, and they had more of a disrespect and disregard for their own women. And then even in certain instances when the so-called holy men that were considered the pinnacles of Islam, of the pinnacle of being a good Muslim, would go to the western parts of Africa to see how good of Muslims they were being. And then they realized, wait, y'all respect your women here? And it was almost like a backwards thing for them. But then Western Africans were just like, yeah, y'all don't? And so it was like, so I'd be curious to find out or dig deeper into whether or not, that level of it even being considered a revolutionary concept, whether or not Islam had anything to do with that. And
true. Yeah, we are talking about the Mali Empire. At this time, we are talking about the Mali Empire. So it is possible that Islam had something to do with it, because a lot of the names here are are Arab. That is a good question. Let's see. The Battle of Krina. Of course, it's not going to mention Islam, right? Yeah.
Part of Islamic culture of not respecting women, bro. It's
yeah. Yeah. But we're not talking about Eastern African Islam. We're talking about West African Islam, which, was a little bit different. It was more matrilineal. They kept certain things intact, like brother said. So, y'all can get into it, man. If y'all learn something new, please put it in the Discord. The link is in my bio, b1initiative.org. We are 900 strong Pan-Africans worldwide coming together to do things for our people. We're building Sankofapedia, an Afrocentric online encyclopedia. Basically, we're going to tell the African version of world history in a website like Wikipedia, but with a graph to show you the connections between people, events, places. We're going to have all types of graphs and charts and stuff. It's going to be really cool, but y'all feel free to check it out. If you join our Discord, I'll give you the link to the beta site. You can also purchase the link if you want to donate. We're a 501c3 nonprofit. So if you want to donate, your donations are tax deductible, and they're all in my bio, b1initiative.org. Come and work with us. Brother Timothy is one of our directors. He is in charge of our quote unquote propaganda team. He's building media to be distributed through social media to re-indoctrinate African people into loving themselves and learning more. So
I would love to get one of my closest friends. You know, he's a true Pan-African. You know, like we kind of bonded through our talking. You know, just like you were talking like that. You know, like a couple of years ago, before I was, you know, rediscovering myself. You know, questioning a lot of things in life. You know, so I think there will be a lot of people who will be joining that. You know, definitely. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we've got brothers. We got a brother in there from Saudi Arabia. We got some brothers in there from Eritrea, Tanzania, Ghana, Uganda. We got Nigerians in there, African Americans, Caribbean, Haitians, all type of brothers and sisters in there. So it's very much a Pan-African organization. But y'all, I'm about to go. Been up here for a few hours. It's getting late. It's dark outside. I appreciate everybody coming through. Thank y'all for supporting the gift goal and supporting the live. I'll be back up tomorrow. And yeah, don't forget, Sunday is our meeting for everybody that's in B1 Initiative. Sunday we have meetings. We're gonna play some videos. We're gonna play a video for Chairman Fred Hampton on his birthday on the 30th. So also we're starting a book club. We're going to listen to audiobooks together for 1 hour a week. If you want to join our book club, join the discussion, you can do that there. Our organization is all African.
Beautiful.
Africans home and abroad, you know, but Africans nonetheless. So
I'll definitely join the cause.
Yes, sir. The link is in my bio. You can join the Discord. Oh, Life is a Beach here. Hey, what's up, sister? Life is a Beach is one of our members as well. She's working on sister, what are you working on again? I forget.
Oh, she's working on the book club.
She's doing the book club. Oh yeah, it's her. She's doing the book club. Big up to my sister, man. And she volunteered and took the initiative to actually reach out. So big up to you, Life is a Beach. We're glad to have you, and we look forward to what you're cooking up for the people. You know, we want this space to be like a community type feel. We're starting it in English right now. Hopefully we'll have every other language in there. We'll have other people that can speak. Hopefully we'll have some translators, but for now we all speak in English, and we just coming together and, you know, talking about Pan-Africanism, learning more and more every day.
And
All
also
right,
big
y'all.
big shout out to Sister Stella, also one of our other chief members.
Absolutely.
Her block hand is legendary out here in these two continents.
On the block hand side, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Big shout out to Sister Stella.
Absolutely. All right, y'all. Free Congo, free Haiti, free Sudan, free Libya, free South Africa, free Jamaica, free Haiti. I think I said that already, but free them twice. Free Brazil, all the Afro-Brazilians. Free the brothers and sisters of the Windrush community, my brothers and sisters in the UK, free Nigeria, Uganda, Ghana, all brothers and sisters worldwide, free my brothers and sisters in America, East Coast, West Coast, South, up in Canada, wherever y'all are at, Africans, Ubuntu, Kuji Chakulia, you know what I'm saying, self-determination, self-love, Ujima, you know what I'm saying, some of these principles that guide us, Uhuru, meaning taking our freedom, Harambe, pull together, brothers and sisters, unify, and black laws for black liberation for all black people everywhere. My name is Brother Legend. I'm here to raise your consciousness, and I'm going to catch y'all next time.